Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today, we install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Lime Rock and Imola were a tough pair for our drivers, but the challenge shifts this week with both circuits containing fast, sweeping corners throughout the lap. Trading for speed on the straights or in the corners will be a difficult compromise for sure. Let's see who finds the best solution as we get ready to watch round 6 of the PRL GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Adam Lindgren, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. First up is the classic Canadian venue of Mosport. Before our GT4 AM drivers take to the track, let's head to our guide to find out more.
Welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, or as most fans know it, Mosport. This circuit to the northeast of Toronto is a rarity in the world of racing today. Safety standards and the desire for more overtaking opportunities has caused most tracks to alter their layouts over the years. But Mosport is still exactly the same footprint as it was when it was built in 1961. A mere 11 turns, most of which are high-speed sweepers, are dispersed among 2.5 miles, or just shy of 4 kilometers. The only alterations to the turns have been to the runoff areas, but otherwise the radii, camber, and elevation changes are all untouched. Because cars have continued to get faster through the passage of time, it's made this place a fearsome beast to tackle. Clayton Corner is particularly notorious. The blind crest and steep plunge combined with incredibly high speeds to create a punishing combination. Without many heavy braking zones, passing is often difficult. And other than using the slipstream up the Mario Andretti straight, the only other option is usually Moss Corner. This double apex hairpin is named after Sir Sterling Moss for his suggestion to redesign it after he saw its initial layout. While the plateau-like middle portion and critical exit onto the backstretch certainly give it plenty of character, the heavy compression at the bottom of the hill that causes a frighteningly short braking zone makes this one not for the faint of heart. Formula One, USAC, and IMSA have all taken their turns here, but recently NASCAR has joined the fray by holding a round for the Truck Series. Old school fans can rejoice for the enduring popularity of this bastion of untouched tarmac, but any motorsports enthusiast can't help but smile at the thrill Mosport continues to provide.
There we saw a beautiful look at Mosport with a variety of cars, but DJ, why don't you tell us about how these GT4 machines are going to handle this track?
Well, they're going to find it a little tricky, Adam, as most cars do here at Mosport. You're not going to see a whole lot of overtaking, something we've come to expect from this GT4 AM series. The best place to maybe get it done is at the end of the Mario Andretti straightaway going down into the S's, but even then, the draft in these cars are not going to be that effective. The best way to get somebody offline, I think, is going to be trying to stick your nose in through Clayton or Quebec, trying to get cars offline, or forcing a mistake out of the driver in front of you. We've seen a lot of problems, a lot of guys going off at the infamous Moss hairpin around here, so watch out for that as a place to pick up an off track or two.
Absolutely, and as we're taking a look at that, we do want to talk about our sponsors. Our race broadcast is brought to you by ASR, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced sim racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between the virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL GT Series is also brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Speaking of tracking performance, DJ, we have the driver's standings here, and Robbie Campbell is currently leading by 27 points over Michael McLeod. Very, very big gap there for Robbie with his 4 wins out of 5 rounds. Then we have Kevin Bergquist back there, only a couple of points, about 5 points behind. Then Kyle Robertson also back there, 5 points behind. Then Charles Sumner rounding out the top 5 with another 15 points behind those guys, but fairly close there for that second step on the podium. But looks like Robbie is going to have to get some bad luck in order for him to close that gap.
Indeed, and on the team's side, Adam, it's a little bit closer at the top with the PRL Director team, only 9 points ahead of GT Moore. They've been able to keep that gap up the entire season, but it has remained painstakingly close. Bit of a bigger gap then back to Pilltown's Punks, 75 points back of our leaders in Parabola Racing, a good almost 50 points back of them, with Team Kodak Rhino sitting back there in 5th place. So a good battle for 2nd, but 3rd, 4th, and 5th a little bit more spaced out.
Absolutely. Now it's time to talk about those race details. As mentioned at the beginning, it is round 6 of 10 here for these drivers. The GT4 cars, which is the Porsche, the BMW, and the McLaren. And it looks like we've got all of them represented here tonight. Race distance is going to be 40 minutes for these drivers, and they have an open setup so they can adjust the car to however they like or dislike. Incidents here: drive-through at 13, disqualification at 17, just like the rest of the season, and they get 1 bonus point for fastest lap, pole, or for 4 or less incidents. So those who are trying to close that gap to Robbie are probably going to be looking for a little bit to take a little bit of those points away from him by getting pole or the fastest lap here today.
Well, they're going to be in for a real treat to try to do it. And I have to say, I think this is one of the few tracks that we're not really going to see that incident limit come in as much. Mosport, yes, you can run wide very easily, but a lot of the times when you run wide, it has disastrous consequences. Many times you're going to end up off in the wall if you do. But we watch Patrick Calgill here as he makes his way around that first corner, starting his first flying lap.
Absolutely. David Calhoun and Richard Swindells, as well as Robbie Campbell and Alex Dobmeyer, are also up there getting their first laps in. David Calhoun actually leading the group of them, with Richard Swindells tucked in behind by about 2 seconds. Campbell is actually a couple of seconds behind Swindell on the track, and they just had a conversation in the pre-race briefing talking about qualifying etiquette and especially about outlaps. If you're getting approached by a car that is currently on a qualifying lap and you are on an outlap during this 10-minute qualifying, you're supposed to pull over and let those guys go and not hold them up. And I'm sure that's going to start to be looked at by the stewards for post-race penalties here.
Most certainly, and especially in these GT4s, as we've seen throughout the course of this season, the draft really isn't as effective as it is elsewhere in some of the other cars, so you're not going to get that much of a benefit from them. We watch Calhoun here working his way through the S's. Very, very tricky in any car you come to, working that BMW down into the final corner of whites. I believe this should be his first time lap.
Absolutely. David Calhoun crossing the line right now. See what the time is. It's a 1:24.898 currently sitting, and then Richard Swindell's Mesa takes over, and so does Robbie Campbell. So obviously swapping positions. Campbell with 0.3 over Swindell. Then Kyle Kamer goes to the top of the charts by 0.3 as well.
And that's 3 McLarens right up top. That's something we've seen a lot, that one make or model will tend to dominate here. Waiting for a couple more cars to come across the line right now to see if we've got any more times. A little surprising to see Dobmeyer back in 5th there as Bergquist makes his way up to 3rd. That's 4 McLarens in the top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite a few of these drivers having issues. I did notice that Michael McLeod actually had a spin on his outlap, so he's actually going to put in his first time lap after all of these guys, so he's got to have to be concerned about all this traffic that we're talking about. But coming across the line, that is Bradley Hawley, who we see racing in both the NASCAR trucks and the NASCAR Cup cars for the PRL series. He had a bad night last night at the Cup series, but currently out here, new driver for this GT4 series running in the M class.
Yeah, good to see him out making an appearance, and that 7th place time there is a pretty respectable time, so kudos to him. Here comes Calhoun back across the line. He's going to be able to improve. That'll bump him up to P2. Swindell's is going to go P3. Robbie Campbell, though, comes back in, setting a sub 124 with a 123.6. That's a mega lap out of your points leader.
Yeah, 0.5 the gap over Cameron. That's a huge gap. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not anyone can claw that back. Now, obviously, these GT4s get faster over the first couple laps that they run because of the tires and the fact that the tires take so long to warm up on these machines. Spencer Semkovich going across the line in 10th position. So not a super great qualifying for him, but he's still got room to improve, absolutely. Danny Cervantes is yet to set his first flying lap, and he's just now entering his first flyer, so he's got some time to make up, as we're already halfway through qualifying, DJ.
Yeah, it really does tend to fly by here, especially at a shorter track like Mosport. Doing a good job to work its way all around through here. Looks like Bradley Hawley able to improve there, jump his way up to 8th. Baron Hilton's going to be coming across, and there he'll be starting a flying lap in that McLaren.
Absolutely. I just watched Richard Swindell's get out of the way of Robbie Campbell, who's still on his flying lap as Baron Hilton. There, just we see him going through the sweeping turn 2 down this hill. So hard to control in these GT4s. Here's Alex Dobmeyer, though, coming across the line, tucked in behind Robbie Campbell. So, wow, Dobmeyer getting a little bit loose there on the exit of the corner, able to cross the line, though, and improve his time up to 7th position.
He'll be pretty happy with that, I have to imagine. Here comes Dobmeyer then again, coming out of the corner. And we've seen him up a lot higher. It's a little surprising to see him that far back, but it doesn't appear to be that heavy of a Porsche track, as Robbie Campbell, pretty satisfied with that time. He's going to come into the pits.
Absolutely. Michael McLeod, after his struggles on his outlap, has moved his way up to 4th position. He's only 12 100ths behind Peter Newhook, so he's got a little bit of work to do, but he's got Dobmeyer up ahead of him. So, and wow, we're seeing a bunch of times come in very close together. Danny Cervantes, Kevin Bergquist, and David Calhoun all tucked underneath 1/10th of a second for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
That's going to be a tight battle for sure. Campbell looks like he's going to make his way back out. Here comes Charles Sumner. Used to seeing him on the oval side in that 98 machine. He's going to pilot his way out of whites. Is he able to improve? Not on this lap, but he'll have another crack at the apple.
Yeah, he's got about 2 more laps that he's going to be able to put in here. And I think Robbie Campbell's going to be able to put in one flying lap, maybe. Yeah, probably one flying lap. So it's not going to be super quick considering the tire warm-up. But here's Richard Swindell. He's trying to cross the line and improve from his 124.454 and does so a slightly better time, and it's going to stick, puts him up to 7th.
And there's Kyle Kammer, not able to get in a better time, but he'll have a couple more laps here if he's got enough fuel in the tank to do it. Waiting for a couple more guys to come across. Looks like Kevin Berquist right now is going to be your next one in that McLaren.
Yeah, he's only 6/1000ths behind Danny Cervantes. He crosses the line, did not improve on that lap, so 6 is the best he's going to be able to do at the moment. He's got 2 more laps to do it.
Oh, Mark Kalin there having a big spin out of whites and crashing out. That's going to hurt him for sure, as you can imagine. Hope he's got his force feedback turned down as we now watch Kyle Robertson making his way through the S's.
Absolutely. Kyle Robertson coming through the final turn here, up onto the curb. A little bit of looseness coming off of the corner. Can he improve from 125.083? Yes. And does that move him? Does that time stick? It does. Unfortunately, it sticks him at 13th. And we've had another spin. Robbie Campbell spun, I believe. No, sorry. This is...
That's Holly. I believe that was Bradley
Holly.
Yes. Yeah, Holly spun. I couldn't tell. It looked like he was blocking the pit lane. Ooh, and I believe that's Michaud behind him that's getting into the wall a little bit as well.
And Michael Gagnon has also spun and hit the wall. So it looks like a lot of drivers are struggling with the conditions out there today.
Yeah, only 82 degrees Fahrenheit on track temperature right now. A lot of humidity at 76%. And look at that wind north coming out of the north at 10 miles an hour. These big boxy cars, that's going to upset them a little bit, especially at the high points of the track. So not surprising to see some buffeting going on.
All right, so we got some drivers who are coming up to approach and start their final laps. This is Johnny Luna, currently in 12th position with a 124.625. Coming around the final corner, can he improve his time? Getting up there on the curb, kicking up just a little bit of dust. Shouldn't be an off track there, but cannot improve. A little bit slower by about 0.12 of a second. Glenn Vanco coming across the line, and he does improve by almost half a second. And that time does stick, moves him up to 15th. But here's Campbell. He did not spin. I misspoke there. So let's see whether or not he can improve. He'll be starting his final lap as he crosses the line. Remember, the clock does run after it hits 0. So a 123.651, a little bit slower than his fastest, but he's got another lap to improve.
Yeah, Newhook following right behind him to see if he is able to keep going there. Here comes David Calhoun. That's an outlap for him. So he's going to have one more chance to go here. Here comes Kyle Robertson. Looks like an outlap for him as well.
So outlap means that first lap is going to be approaching Peter Newhook. Actually, Robbie Campbell has abandoned his lap and actually caught Peter Newhook out a little bit, unfortunately. Here comes Michael McLeod trying to improve from his 4th position, only 3/100ths behind Kyle Kramer, and he crosses the line and will not be able to start another lap. So Michael is not going to be able to improve his time. And here comes Michel Guénon, who's unfortunately looks like he's just pulled off to the side. He's going to be done with his final lap. Baron Hilton sliding through the grass. He's going to hit the outside wall, and that'll be it for him too.
Ooh, he's not going to like that, but here comes Glenn Vanco through the S's. Let's see if that Porsche is able to keep things together here and improve on a 15th place position. The GT Moore driver hoping to be able to help out his team. No, he's going to call it off and head into the pits.
All right, so that leaves Bradley Holly, who I believe he's on a flyer. Yes, he is on a flyer. So Bradley Holly with one more chance to improve from 124.687. But granted, this is the first flying lap, so usually the tires aren't quite up to temperature for the GT4s as he turns the final corner and puts the power down. A little bit of looseness in that Porsche, crosses the line, and it is a little bit faster. And that's going to be good enough to bump him up to 11th.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that to get that move up the field. Sumner coming into the pits there. Here's Kyle Robertson bouncing around that last corner of whites. Is he going to be able to improve on a 124? Yes, he is. Is that going to help him up the order? Yes, it is. That's going to be a 9th place for Kyle Robertson.
And Kyle Kammer is going to take it into the pits, so that will actually complete our qualifiers, I believe, as Robertson was our last one to go. So this will be everybody here. Holy smokes, that was a very intense session for sure.
Very much so, and let's hope that that persists into what I'm sure is going to be a good race here around Mosport. No matter what car you put on this track, Adam, it always produces some fantastic driving.
Absolutely. So as this session finally finishes up, we're going to go to take a look at our starting grid here. We have Robbie Campbell on the pole position with Kyle Kammer in second place. Then we have Peter Newhook, who's going to start off in third on row 2 with Michael McLeod in fourth position. Row 3 is going to be Danny Cervantes and Kevin Bergquist starting off in sixth. Richard Swindells is going to line up next to Charles Sumner, and Kyle Robertson and David Calhoun round out your top 10.
In 11th, it's going to be Alex Dobmeyer, followed by Bradley Holly making his appearance in this series. Michael Papalano is going to be 13th, followed by Johnny Luna and Glenn Vanko. Michael Gagnon will be in 16th, followed by Spencer Semkowicz and Mark Kalin behind him. Baron Hilton will line up 19th, followed by Patrick Cowgill. And rounding out the back of your field, it's Jason Burmeister and Adam Young.
So a nice varied grid here with a lot of different skill levels, a lot of different models of vehicle out there. A BMW in David Calhoun. We have McLarens all over the place. We have the Porsches from a lot of our NASCAR drivers. So a very varied field here, but those McLarens just so quick out there in qualifying.
Yeah, they look pretty spicy to beat, although that McLaren pack up at the front that we saw earlier, as you said, broken up a little bit. The BMWs, those cars continue to look like you need a very fine hand to be able to drive them. And so not as many up near the pointy end of the field.
Absolutely. So we're just waiting for Robbie Campbell to make his way to the grid. He's our final 1-2 grid here. So it'll be very, he's definitely stretching it as far as he can go, but he finally jumps on board. And who's that just dropped out behind him? That was Peter Newhook, unfortunately. So Peter might have to start from pit lane if he can't jump in. He's got 15 seconds to get back on track here. And that's not going to happen. So Peter Newhook, unfortunately, going to have to start in the pit lane. I don't see him having dropped his connection. So unfortunately, he's just not going to take the grid.
Not sure what's happening there. I'm not seeing a disconnect issue. I wonder if there was maybe a setup problem that Newhook was trying to adjust or something like that. But that's going to leave that third place open on the grid right now.
Absolutely. So they've got a full pace lap for these guys around here at Mosport. And DJ, such a challenging track for these GT4s with their lack of downforce and pure mechanical grip. These first couple of corners, especially the sweeping downhill left-hander, such a challenging thing for these machines.
Oh, very, very much so, especially as you said, Adam, on how long it takes for these GT4 tires to heat up. Drivers are going to have to be very, very tricky coming down, I think, especially through Clayton. That is a corner that if you are not perfectly online and perfectly get it right, it can come out and bite you.
Absolutely. So it'll take 2 laps of racing for these GT4 tires to reach their optimum temperature. For example, Robbie Campbell had an out lap than his first lap and then set his best qualifying time on his second lap. So these GT4 tires take a long time to get up to temperature. And when you're going side by side through that downhill left-hander, that's a real challenge for these drivers with those cold tires and the rear end sliding up.
Very much so, and they're really not going to hit a heavy braking zone until they get to Moss, so they're going to have to watch out for that and be very, very careful. I hate to say it, but we may see a kerfluffle or two as they come through these opening laps.
If you want to take a look at where Peter Newhook rejoins the track, if he's going to hop back in, you can jump onto our timing and scoring at gsrc.tv. Live timing and scoring, just in case the timing tree on the left isn't quite enough information for you. A lot of information there for our viewers to take a look at. But Robbie Campbell will lead them to the line with Kyle Kammer on the outside. Then following behind, it's Michael McLeod and Danny Cervantes in that second row. So Robbie Campbell's going to wait for that pace car to dive off, and it will do so right here. And he's going to be in control of the field as they come to the line. And Campbell goes immediately. He doesn't even wait. And there's a wreck behind. And that's Michael McLeod who's around. Fortunately, he did not hit the wall, but a bad start for everybody else, and Campbell's away.
Yeah, and that was Kammer that got dragged up in all of that, so that's a big problem there. He is all the way in the back of the field, but look at that run that they already have, and that's Swindells and Robertson starting to challenge in for P2.
Danny Cervantes has already taken a tow. He missed the entire first corner. Unfortunately, David Calhoun is now spinning in the background, has made collision with Bradley Hawley. That's going to take Hawley out of the race.
Oh my goodness, so many guys already out of here. I also see Mark Kalin spun around. This is just kerfluffle after kerfluffle here, Adam.
Absolutely. So a lot of our NASCAR drivers, unfortunately, out of this race. We're taking a look at the battle for second place between Richard Swindells and Kyle Robertson after Cameron got knocked off track. Robertson taking it quite deep there. And then look at this guy trying to do the over-under, but can't quite get it done. So now he's got a lot of draft ability down this back straight, but it's not quite as effective in the GT4s as the GT3s.
No, not really as much, but we look like we may have a little bit of a battle shaping up here as they continue to go along. Ooh, trying to get it, but just not able to make the move.
Yeah, unfortunately, not going to be able to get that move done, but as they come into the stadium section one more time, Robbie Campbell still leading. Kyle Robertson trying to get a position on Swindells to try and send it up the inside of the penultimate corner. Can't quite get it done. Kevin Bergquist looking on behind them in fourth position. Look at this. Robertson with a good exit onto the front straight, able to pass as they cross the line.
Ooh, is he going to be able to hold it? Oh, pushed out to the outside, and that's Bergquist coming in there saying, I'd like a little bit of that. Thank you very much.
Swindells going to try and set it down the inside of the sweeping left-hander. Can't quite get it done there, though. Swindells is starting to head backwards a little bit as Dobmeyer's starting to look on at these two. As we watch right on board with Swindells, he's just starting to fade back from those two guys. Campbell already up to a 5-second lead.
Yeah, Robbie Campbell is completely checked out, but there you can see side by side in the back. Looking a little bit feisty there. That's the 99 of Dobmeyer and Michaud. Dobmeyer's going to win that little battle for now.
Yeah, Michaud's still on his recovery drive, unfortunately. So a lot of drivers are out of position because of the scrambled start here. That's going to definitely make things interesting. So as we head back onto the back straight, it looks like everyone's going to be pretty much line astern here. And it doesn't look like we're going to get any passes here, unfortunately, so I think we're going to take a look at some of the replays at the beginning, especially from Michaud. And no, it looks like everyone's going to stay in line. So here we go, taking a look at the replay from the beginning. This is with Michaud, and I believe it was
Kyle Kammer.
Yeah, for that second position.
Yeah, that just got absolutely caught out. There you see... Little bit cagey here, move here from Robbie Campbell. Campbell just goes very, very fast. And there we're following Michaud. He starts to come in, a little bit of a checkup in front. As they work their way through the S's, everybody starts to get into line here. And then here it is, bam, right around.
It looks like Cameron actually came across the nose of the BMW. I believe that was Mark Kalin. Oh, and we've had a wreck on actually on track, but we're taking a look at Bradley Hawley right now. Bradley Hawley and his incident, he actually gets collected up in the wreck with Danny Cervantes, I believe.
Yes, indeed. Oh, Cervantes just lost it to the inside there on those cold tires, and nowhere for Hawley to go but into that inside retaining wall.
So Alex Dobmeyer actually just had a wreck just about about 15 seconds ago. So Dobmeyer in the pits right now.
All right, so we're trying to spool this up for you here to see if we can find it, but more and more of our drivers just dropping out of the race. All right, here we go, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is following, and it looks like he's having a little bit of connection issue. Then he hits the brakes as he goes through the first turn. And it's coming up right here, I believe. Yeah, he just clips the grass with that left rear tire and ends up spinning around. Oh, we've had another wreck between Semkovic and Vanko.
Nobody able to get through this race cleanly. Oh my goodness, you can see both of them there in the tire barriers. I believe that's coming through the S's.
Yeah, that was Bradley Hawley who just snuck his way through there as those two were rejoining. So unfortunately, yet another wreck with these guys. We're going to stay live here as they try and recover. We're going to take a look at P4 right now, the battle between Swindells and Michaud.
Yeah, this battle is heating up a little bit. Michaud just trying to get any advantage he can. This is McLaren versus McLaren here as they come up the hill towards Moss. Such a tricky braking zone to get right. Love that they have the brake lights on this car. You can see the feathering that you have to do as to get it right.
Absolutely, and as he starts to go up there, Kevin Bergquist still looking at the back of Kyle Robertson for that second position. Robbie Campbell is still out to that 5.5 second lead, so Campbell's start and the chaos that ensued behind him has been able to give him free reign towards the front of this field. So look at this, Kyle Robertson under heavy pressure right now from Kevin Bergquist.
Very, very heavy pressure all the way around. Really a good battle here for second and fourth, respectively. Who can get the run out of whites? Looks like they're about evenly matched. I don't think Bergquist is going to want to have the run going down into one. Going to take a look at it, though.
Taking a very close look. He's definitely trying to get into position to make a move, but the first place you're going to be able to make that move is into Moss. So here we go down the sweeping left-hander. So challenging to keep any car on the track there, much less one that's so reliant on the tires. But here we go, and they're actually getting a little bit bottled up here. Everyone from this third place on back through 10th with Michael Gagnon. We're taking a look at that battle actually with Kyle Cameron just making the pass on Michael.
And remember, the camera is out of position courtesy of that first lap accident. So he's working his way back up to where he belongs. Got a little bit of a gap to make up here, but doing a good job taking a wide angle there through Moss. That'll give him a good run down the Mario Andretti straightaway.
We're getting news from Peter Newhook that he did actually have a connection issue, so that's why he started at the back. He's currently in 20th position, but Kyle Robertson is actually going to get serious pressure from Bergquist going into this turn. Here we go. Looking up the inside is Bergquist, and looks like Robertson's going to give it to him.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a lift there from Bergquist. Just didn't want to fully challenge on it, or Robertson rather didn't want to fully challenge on it. Maybe he'll get another shot here, but this may actually big off there for Bergquist, and that's going to put this right back into play. Here comes Robertson.
Absolutely, Robertson looking at the inside, but it's a nice pinch there. Wow, actually going straight to the curb, so cutting off the nose there of Robertson, and here comes Michaud up the inside of Swindells because Swindells had to lift.
Oh, and Michaud's going to have that coming down through Clayton. He's got the advantage, and he's got the position. He's now got his eyes set ahead to Kyle Robertson, and this is all allowed for Swindells to really close in the background there.
And Sumner's actually looking at the back of these guys too, so it's now a 5-car battle for the second position as Bergquist, I mean, it seems like all of these drivers are being held up just a little bit as Campbell continues to run away to a 6.5-second lead.
Yeah, Robbie is just in a league of his own right now. The rest of their field running their own race. Ooh, almost a big check up there in the back for Sumner and Luna, but they were able to get through it together.
So now this is a gigantic battle. This is 8 cars for second position, all lined up in a line here. So, and we might even be able to have Kyle Kammer and Michael Gagnon come and join this, but it looks like Pavolano is going to get alongside Luna and try and do an outside pass as they head towards the turns. Oh, we got even more action just everywhere on the track where these guys are battling. And look at this, Luna getting held up a little bit by Sumner through the corners.
Yeah, he's going to be a little frustrated at that, but we've seen what you can do if you can get a good run here through whites. Ooh, that's a good run for Luna. He's going to pull up to the inside of Sumner. He's got the power down. Is Sumner going to be brave enough to chop off that nose? No, he's going to give him the line, and I think that's going to give Luna a little bit more of an advantage, but Sumner trying to hold it around the outside.
Sumner holding it well around the outside. Pavolano trying to look on these guys. Sumner's going to have to give Luna that line, so Sumner having to fall back to the 6th position. Pavolano now fall back to the 7th position. Pavolano now looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, he's going to be hoping to try to catch up to the back of that, but all of this squabbling has allowed for Swindells, Michaud, Robertson, and Bergquist to pull away a little bit to the tune of about 0.8 of a second, which is about the biggest gap we've seen out of these guys this entire race, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like all these guys are starting to get filtered out towards their positions, and it looks like that had a mistake from Luna, and this is going to give an opportunity to Sumner to try and take that position back.
Yes, it very well might. Luna's going to have to be a little bit defensive, but Sumner definitely on the charge here. Let's see if he tries to be brave. He's going to tuck up behind that BMW. It is German power versus German power. Sumner thinking about trying to find a way by. He's going to have to do it late. I don't think he's going to get it done into the S's. That may give him Pavolano an idea.
Yeah, and as they all check up, Kammer coming back into play here. And it looks like Adam Young has unfortunately taken it to the pits, so he's had his own issue alone on track there. Oh, Johnny Luna having a little bit of connection issues up ahead of Charles Sumner. So as all these guys are rejoining the track.
Yeah, as they're trying to come back, looks like Luna's got himself a little bit of a buffer here. He'll be thankful about that, but Sumner in all kinds of trouble with Pavolano and Kammer coming up behind. Cammer, who we ride on board with, is the one.
I'm sorry, but Kalen is spun around on the front straight. He spun it coming out of the final corner. So unfortunately for Kalen, he's now off track, but Cammer putting that heavy, heavy pressure on Pavolano. Look at this as they head into the downhill.
Really going for it here. Cammer putting maximum pressure to Pavolano right now, trying to get something done. Ooh, big chunk of curb there for Pavolano. That's going to hurt him on the straightaway.
Cammer with a late apex didn't quite make the turn in that he wanted, but I think Pavolano's hitting up the curb is going to give him the opportunity. So he's going to take a look around the outside of this corner. This will be interesting heading in to the S's. Let's see who's going to come out better for it. Pavolano on the inside, Cammer on the outside as they approach the braking zone. Both of them brake at the same time. Cammer's got a little bit more road to use. He's going to use it, and now it's going to switch back to the inside. Look at that. Pavolano getting a little bit loose in his McLaren as Cammer's McLaren looks pretty sewn together.
Yes, he does.
Oh, he goes wide!
Yeah. That's wide off for Cammer. Cammer trying to keep the power down, but Pavolano's going to get the space back.
Cammer making a good move, but just took it a little bit too deep into the final corner, unfortunately. So Cammer and Pavolano swapping those positions back over. Pavolano in 8th, Cammer in 9th. Oh, and now Cammer makes a mistake on the downhill.
Yes, he does. Pavolano blinking a little bit there, but that's going to allow for Cammer to get back forward. Now his eyes are going to be trying to focus up ahead on Sumner. Spacing out a little bit is that little battle that we saw.
Absolutely. And as Cammer tries to focus up ahead, there's a battle for 3rd position between Robertson and Michaud, and Swindells is still looking on. Believe it or not, Bergquist is starting to run away with this, but Michaud putting some heavy pressure on Robertson now.
Yeah, very much so. This is that battle for P3, the last step at the podium. McLaren pokes its nose to the inside, to what will be the outside of the S's. That's going to have to be a gutsy move there if he can get it done, but he's certainly looking for it.
Contact, and they're off track. That's Michaud and Robertson going off track. Contact there, and that was the McLaren trying to take a right-hand turn. The Porsche is just a little bit too unstable to make that turn in under that heavy of braking, and he just decided to try and save the car, go straight, and I don't think it worked out for him.
No, I don't think it did. Just a little bit too much instability going on there as we watch on board with that replay. Looking out the side here of Michaud. Yeah, it just drifted up into him, and that spent him right around.
Yeah, and I think both of those two were coming together. I think Michaud was looking to squeeze him just a little bit, but the Porsche just a little bit too tight on braking, well, a little too loose on braking, to be honest, and couldn't get turned in time. Both of them coming together.
Going to get a little bit of love for our leader here, who we've kind of forgotten about with all of the fantastic battling we've had in the back. Robbie Campbell working this out to a 7-second advantage right now.
Absolutely. Campbell at 7 seconds of a lead with 26 minutes to go. And after this race is complete, don't forget we have the GT3 Pro class that is going to be racing at Spa after this. So you're not going to want to go anywhere with those guys racing around there. But Robbie Campbell looking like he's driving his way to Spa with a 7-second lead up ahead of these guys.
Yeah, it's shades of Lewis Hamilton almost for him, but an absolutely commanding drive.
And we've got Bradley Holly making his recovery drive, trying to make a pass on Patrick Cowgill here on the straight now. And Bradley Holly going to the outside once again. Now, granted, this is a McLaren on the inside, but this move seems to be a risky one today. Bradley Holly going all the way to the outside, and Patrick Cowgill braking a little early. He's going to give Holly that space. Cowgill and Holly know each other from the other NASCAR series. Holly getting through into the 11th position.
Going to jump back up to Kyle Cammer here.
Whoa! Oh, Pippin Bergquist is around from 2nd place.
Oh, what happened to Bergquist? That's the McLaren off right there. We're going to jump back to the replay to check this out.
And this is just him being tight down the downhill left-hander here. We're going to see it coming up. He's just going to fling that car in and hope that it sticks. And unfortunately, the front tire's not sticking enough, sliding off track. And he's off. And it looks like, yeah, he crosses the track, almost contact with, I believe that was Johnny Luna and Richard Swindells who passed him by right there.
Yeah, just really flying on by him there. Very lucky, which check out this on board. I believe, Adam, this is what they call in the business from Johnny Luna a code brown.
Yep, absolutely, especially going around that maximum grip corner. There's not much more that Luna could have put in without spinning the car around, so fortunately he was able to keep it on track and stick at least within a second and a half of Swindells, who's now in second.
Yeah, so attrition being the main battle here as we focus in on Johnny Luna. That's Sumner closing in behind, and that battle that we were kind of keeping a half an eye on there, still really doing well. Want to point this out, by the way, Johnny Luna up from 14th.
Absolutely, and that's because he was able to take advantage of that scrambled start that we had with all the contact between Cameron and a couple of our other drivers. So fortunately, and here is Cameron, by the way, who's putting pressure on Charles Sumner for 4th position. A great recovery drive for Cameron.
Yeah, really doing a good job for him. Putting pressure to Sumner here. A little bit of a more of aggressive line. I like that for him. Now up through Moss. This is really where the skill of a driver shows off. Adam, it's one of the hardest quarters in motorsport in the entire world.
Absolutely, I would agree with that 110%. And Cameron showing his excellence as he was able to get great power off of the quarter and onto the Andretti straight. Here we go with Cameron looking to the inside this time. Saw what happened ahead of him and decided that the inside is going to be a better move, and Sumner's actually just going to lift a little bit and let Cameron get through.
I think that's a good call from Sumner. He knows that Cameron was able to qualify way higher up the order, and so was able to do that. Cameron now is going to set his eyes on Johnny Luna. I got to say, if Cameron's able to recover and get onto the podium from falling far back as he did, that is going to be one of the best drives I've seen of the PRL GT4 series in a long time.
I mean, DJ, with 22 minutes to go and the pace that he's setting right now, his best lap is a 1:24 flat versus the two guys ahead of him, Johnny Luna and Richard Swindells, who have 1:24.3. So he's got 0.3 of a second in the bag on these guys at his best speed. Looks like Baron Hilton is hitting the pits right now.
Well, that's going to be the first of our pitters for scheduled pit stops a little bit before the halfway mark. Normally, we tend to see guys go a little bit longer here, but the strategy in the GT4 series does tend to vary because of the lack of effectiveness of the draft. It's really all going to be about coming out when you're not going to be around somebody.
Factors he's keeping in mind is the air temperature and track temperature. Currently 80 degrees on track, with a 77% humidity and that wind of still 10 miles an hour on the north side. So very interesting to note all of those factors going into this decision from Baron to take to the pits early. Now that we've had all the chaos, it's all starting to shake out a little bit. He's still about a lap and a half ahead. So Hilton trying to make his recovery drive and get out there and set some good lap times.
No, for sure, and hopefully he'll be able to do so. A little bit more love again for our leader. After that big kerfluffle in the back, that gap is up to a whopping 11 seconds, Adam.
Yeah, 11 and a half seconds to be honest, and he's also got the fastest lap of the day at a 1:23.8. So a very quick lap for sure. The second fastest being Kyle Cameron in that 4th position.
Yeah, so they're going to have to do something to catch that. Here, we're going to focus in Johnny Luna trying to catch down Richard Swindells. This is McLaren versus BMW. Luna looks like he's able to get a little bit of a better run there through Quebec. Let's see if he can carry that momentum into Moss.
Absolutely. Luna took a couple laps to save his tires, but now putting that heavy pressure on Swindells. Kyle Cameron, who is up to about 8/10 behind these guys, has fallen back a little bit. So I think Cameron's tires starting to expend as well. So Luna, not a great exit though, unfortunately. Oh, and Michael Gagnon is around. And it's in Moss.
Ooh, that could be a big track blockage there. Gagnon able to get back and get going. Maybe a little bit of suspension damage there over the curbs just for good measure. Let's watch this replay.
Yeah, and this is classic Porsche looseness under the brakes into Moss Corner. Here we go down the sweeping left-hander. Then it's going to be heavy braking and the uphill. And he just clips the inside curb just a little bit. It just unsettles the car enough that spins him around and puts him right in the center of the track. And that was... I think that was the BMW of Mark Kalin who went around him.
Ooh, Kalin having a big off there, taking a big slide through the grass.
He lost a tire.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so no right rear tire means no right rear drive for this machine. BMW is being a rear wheel drive, so unfortunately he's gonna be back in the pits, and I believe he's already taken a pit stop, so he's gonna have quite a bit of work to do.
Yes, he is indeed, and he's not going to like to have to do that, but we focus back in on Johnny Luna, taking a little bit of a wider mid-corner there through Moss, just trying to find something, anything to get by Richard Swindells, as now he's really starting to feel that pressure from Cameron behind him.
Very much so, and Cameron approaching very quickly, and Luna deciding that he really needs to get moving. I think that he's trying to shake Swindells a little bit. You can see him changing lines, and Swindells actually took the bait a little bit, and here comes Luna with heavy pressure on Swindells as they go through the S's.
Yeah, heavy pressure, but Swindells able to withstand it for now. Let's see if Luna's got anything. A little bit of dab of the brakes there coming through whites, continuing to ride on board here with Cameron. Let's see if Luna's brave enough to go to the inside. He's certainly going to try it. Oh, that's almost a recipe for contact. Luna riding the curb hard.
Yeah, with the absolutely maximum grip that they're using around these corners, if he would have made contact with the rear of Swindells, that would have sent Swindells around. That was about as close as you can get here. So unfortunately for him, can't quite make the move, but you can see just how strong he is on the brakes in that BMW. He's got a good opportunity for getting a better line off. Is he going to take it around the outside through the downhill? No, he gets blocked off. He looks to the inside. Swindells just putting his car in the middle of the track. Can Swindells even make Moss Corner at this point? The answer is yes. Luna looks to the inside. Can't get anything done there. As they're doing this is bringing Cameron right back into the picture.
You read my mind, Kyle Cameron absolutely loving this. We jump on board with that McLaren right now as he hunts down the 17 of Johnny Luna. He's got a good run here, but as we've said, the draft on these straights, not nearly as much as you'd like it to be. Is he going to try to make a move going down through the S's?
I think seeing how strong Luna is on the brakes is going to prevent him from doing that, but Luna a little bit loose through that right-hander, through the S's, really hanging this GT4 out. Look at how much he is closing on Swindells. Oh, and look at this, Kyle Cameron into the pits.
All right, interesting strategy call there from Kyle Cameron, but he's going to come down right now and take his
Luna's making the move right now. Johnny Luna to the inside of Swindells. He surprised him through turn one and takes second.
All right, we're going to jump back and check out this replay. A little bit of an unsuspecting move here from Johnny Luna. Kudos to him for doing so. There you see Swindells ahead. Luna he hinted at it last time, almost got that BMW sideways, but able to get it all wound up and moves himself ahead.
Absolutely. A 13.6 second stop for Kyle Cameron. That's about a second slower than Baron Hilton's stop of 12.2. Michael Michaud also in the pits, and his stop is going to be over 13.6 by quite a bit. So Michaud possibly with a penalty. Nope, 19 seconds, so just a lot more fuel for Michaud. So just some different strategy calls here.
All right, different strategy starting to play out there across the board. Interesting to know, Kyle Cameron came back in 9th place. He is our highest pitter right now. His only problem, as we watch, he is currently stuck behind Bradley Holly, so that may slow him up a little bit.
Yeah, but Bradley will be able to let him go for sure. As we're riding on board with Bradley, looking back at Cameron as he's trying to make a move coming off of Moss onto the Infinity straight. Here we go with Cameron coming up behind. You can see just how ineffective that draft is in these GT4 machines as Swindells into the pits to try and cover off Cameron.
All right, there you see it, and there you see Cameron diving down later on the brakes. Move is done.
Move is done. Bradley Holly with hotter tires can go through the corners a little bit quicker, but he still has to make his second pit stop because he's already taken a pit stop because of the damage that he had. Swindells still in the box. Cameron on the straightaway. Swindells with a 14.1 second stop, but doesn't get away very quick. Cameron goes around.
All right, that's the first time we've seen that strategy work out for him, and there you go. We've also got Bergquist and Cowgill. Looks like they're coming into the pits as well as Vanko. But yeah, Cameron there getting the big benefit you can see there of just getting by, and I think getting in a little bit of that clean air is certainly helping him out.
Absolutely. Getting that passed on Bradley Holly quickly was crucial to his strategy for sure. So now it'll be interesting to see when Johnny Luna decides to pit, because he's going to be the one who definitely plays a factor in this. And I think that Pavolano and Luna continue to have connection issues. The two of them have been gone for multiple seconds at a time. So hopefully they retain their connections, because that is second and fourth positions.
I think I've got some bad news for fans of Michael Pavolano. He is disconnected from the sim due to incoming packet loss, so that is a loss of one of our front runners.
So that moves Kyle Kammerer up to fifth, Gagnon up to fourth, Charles Sumner up to third, but he's taking his pit stop now, so that should shovel him behind Gagnon and Kammerer. Interesting to note that Robbie Campbell, up to a 14.5-second lead, has yet to take his pit stop as Gagnon headed into the pits. I think he actually ran out of fuel.
Yeah, he does seem to be sputtering a little bit there as Charles Sumner coming in as well. That'll demote him, although that's a pretty good stop for him. I think that'll keep him up there. Luna yet to come in yet. 18 laps out on the track right now.
So as we see another rejoinder here, very close between those two cars, but obviously the pitting car are going to let the car on track go by just because the tires aren't warm yet. That is Charles Sumner coming back behind Richard Swindells. So Sumner with a 13.1 second stop. Swindells was about a second and a half slower on the lane, and this has brought Charles Sumner up to the back of him.
Yes, it has. We'll have to see if Sumner's got a little bit of room here, maybe to make a move on Swindells if possible. Remember, this could potentially be for the last step on the podium, depending on how Johnny Luna's stop goes.
Absolutely, and I think that Swindells was slow into the lane, DJ, because Charles Sumner was able to get the lane done as we're watching Robbie Campbell in the pit lane taking his pit stop. I think Swindells was slow coming into the pits because Charles Sumner's in lap was a 1:30 versus Swindells 1:49.
Yeah, and it is a very tricky pit in here. It's very, very tight, very, very technical. And so that wouldn't surprise me if he was able to get the jump right there.
So here we go. Kammerer has gone by Johnny Luna, waiting out there in front of everybody, unfortunately losing those positions. So these pit stops are proving crucial for Kammerer. Luna was out in free air by himself, and Kammerer just... that McLaren feels a lot better with the extra fuel in it.
Apparently it does, and I think it's also a little bit of Kammerer being held up behind Luna before that round of pit stops, just able to really unleash himself.
Absolutely. Luna was faster on the lane and in the box, but Kammerer just much faster on the track. And no tires for either of these guys, so just different strategies ending up playing out different. Kammerer in position to recover from getting spun at the start of the race up to second place.
Yeah, it's a heck of a run for Kyle Kammerer coming back to the position I'm sure he feels he belongs in. Obviously looked like he didn't exactly have the time for Robbie Campbell. Campbell's fastest lap about 0.2 faster than Kammerer's, but what a run it is for him. Watching here, though, this is Charles Sumner trying to chase down Swindells.
Absolutely, and with Campbell with that 13.5-second lead over Kammerer, who's putting in some hot laps. With about 11 laps to go, you can see Charles Sumner closing in on Swindells here, trying to get up there and make a pass in the waning stages of this race. As we enter the last quarter of this race, just want to remind you, we got the GT3 Pros at Spa coming up shortly after this race. Same PRL GT series, and you're going to want to stay with us for that one because it's probably going to be very similar when it comes to the intensity and excitement here.
Oh, for sure. There's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of fun to keep an eye on. But we are not yet done with this race, Adam. Still got 10 minutes to go, and, well, anything can happen.
Absolutely. With Sumner closing in on Swindells, I can report that Michael Michaud closing in on Kevin Bergquist for 6th position as well. So just a little bit of sorting out that these drivers have to do. Wow, Sumner very late on the brakes into Moss, able to get it slowed down, using that uphill to slow himself down. But Swindells, with a great exit, is able to keep the gap.
Yeah, that's a good exit, and that's what can happen on Moss. You can get that late dive in there, but it will come back to bite you if you're not careful, and Sumner losing that the hard way.
Absolutely, but he's still half a second behind, so fortunately hasn't lost that much time. They are catching, actually, Johnny Luna up ahead of them. They caught him by about 0.3 of a second last lap. So it'll be interesting to see whether Swindells can drag Sumner up there to battle for those positions. Robert Campbell and Kyle Kammer in first and second in this race at the moment. That's where they started, but that's not the tail of the tape. Kammer having to make a recovery drive after getting spun out at the beginning of the race. Kyle Kammer doing a great job up there in second position. Johnny Luna down there in third spot right now has been doing a great job. He's up 11 spots from that 14th starting position, doing a great job himself, with Richard Swindells in fourth position in that battle with Charles Sumner right now. So all these drivers doing an excellent job to try and hang on to their positions. But the two drivers I'm most impressed with, honestly, DJ, are Kyle Kammer and Johnny Luna.
Yeah, same here. They've really had to fight their way up through the field and prove me wrong in that track guide that I talked about at the beginning, Adam, where I said it was next to impossible to pass around here.
Kammer spun!
Oh, no!
Kammer has spun in Moss Corner. And he's going to lose a lot of time in positions. This moves Johnny Luna back up to second. Swindells and Charles Sumner to third and fourth. Kammer will recover and be in fifth.
Oh my goodness.
Commentators curse.
100%. Let's watch this. Little bit of a shallow entry there, and that just let him drift up wide. Tried to catch it, and I think he goosed the throttle a little bit more than he wanted to on entry.
Yeah, he got those front tires back onto the pavement. The rear tires were still spinning in the dirt, and that's what sent him around. You can see him here heading down. He clips the inside a little bit, which unsettles the car into the braking zone, goes late on the brakes and into the dirt. He puts those front tires on the pavement, and they just grab the pavement and spin him around.
Yeah, so it looks like Kyle Kammer's day is not yet done in terms of going. Oh, great battle here going on with Bergqvist and Michaud.
Michaud to the inside of Bergqvist, and he did the over-under on him in the final turn and is able to get that position away from Bergqvist. Michaud, looking up the track, has got to be wondering, wait a minute, Kyle Kammer? I thought he was further up than this.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't see that on the relatives when it comes up and through. Let's watch this replay, Adam. Selling that over-under is Michaud absolutely to perfection. Put that on a blackboard and teach it to kids. That's how you do the move.
That's the textbook move right there. And you can see Bergqvist just be like, oh man, I got duped. And he just lets Michaud go through. Oh, Kyle Kammer's around again. Same place.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, and that's going to allow for Michaud and Bergqvist to be right up his tailpipe as they go down the Mario Andretti straightaway.
And it's this identical incident. Not even worth showing the replay because it looks exactly the same, but now Michaud and Bergqvist, tied up with each other, have also got Kammer ahead of them.
They do indeed, and this is about to get even more spicy. Here they come down into the S's. That looked like Michaud carried a lot more speed, but may have had to check himself up a little bit at the first part of it. Let's see if he can sell that same dummy move that he did before.
Absolutely. Kammer's a little bit more of a tough customer here, does not buy it that time around. I think Michaud's going to have to put pressure on Kammer. Look at this. Michaud diving to the inside, trying to get Kammer offline. And here's the thing, DJ, is that if he puts pressure onto Kammer into Moss, it's possible that he could make a move there, because I think Kammer's going to be taking Moss a little bit more conservative at this time.
I can tell you that when I've driven this track personally, if I make a mistake in Moss, it makes me back up that corner a lot to make sure I get it right going forward. A little bit of a check up there from Michaud as he's getting a more narrow line coming out of Quebec. Now let's see if Kammer is able to navigate this corner right.
He's not quite close enough to put enough pressure on Kammer to make this Kammer make a mistake here. You can see he couldn't quite get alongside as they came through the second half of the corner. But Kammer very late on the exit. Michaud putting power down. I think Bradley Holly's gone off again.
Yes, he has indeed. That looks like it was coming through Clayton. And watching that line, even as Kammer ran it correctly, I have to say he's taking a very narrow entry into Moss, and that's what has caused those previous two accidents. He's pushing the car forward, but look at the run here. Michaud really starting to push, pokes his nose to the inside in the second part of the S's. Not going to be able to get anything done here, but he's certainly putting the pressure to Kyle Kammer.
Yeah, he's actually doing a great job of doing what I tend to recommend to drivers when they're trying to put pressure on a driver they think is slower ahead of them, take the opposite line from the driver ahead of you, especially if that's going to benefit you on the exit. This is the best way that you can really scare the driver ahead of you into looking into their mirrors and not looking at the track, is if you are weaving back and forth behind them just due to the different lines that you're taking. And with Kevin Bergquist about half a second behind, he's got the time and the space to be able to do that and put this pressure on Campbell.
Exactly, Adam. That is what we always talk about, is getting into the head of the driver in front of them. Ooh, big chunks of the curbs there. Again, a little bit of that narrow line there. Whoa! And that's going to be a little bit wide for Michaud, but I think it's going to allow for a little bit of a boost there for Cameron. He may have a push.
Yeah, Cameron's going to keep pulling a little bit on Michaud. Both of these drivers are extremely trimmed out for this. I could see them both gaining on the cars around them throughout this race. Robbie Campbell still up to 16.6 seconds over Johnny Luna, as this is definitely the closest battle on the track. You can see just how close they're getting as they head into the S's.
Very close indeed. Now, we saw Michaud back off a little bit here through the second part of the S's. Looks like he does it a little bit again. Not able to get the full run. I think Cameron has the better of him in that final sequence of corners, so Michaud's going to have to find a different area to get by.
Absolutely. So Michaud is going to have to put pressure on in a space that Cameron is not expecting, or possibly get a good run through Moss and take him down the Andretti straight. But Bergquist here, he's got a great run actually, as where he's approaching Michaud. Is he going to look to the inside? No, he thinks better of it, but Michaud takes it too deep into the corner. Here comes Bergquist with the head of steam. Michaud trying to hang on to it, manages to do so.
Now is it going to be Bergquist that gets aggressive up through Moss? And keep an eye on that clock, Adam. We've only got 3 minutes to go left in this race. Doesn't look like Bergquist is going to try to press his luck here, but what that does allow to do is it allows Michaud to get the corner he wants to through Moss, but Bergquist, I think, got a better one.
2 laps to go. Robbie Campbell just crossed the line for 2 to go here. Bergquist with great pressure right now, and Michaud Cameron starting to run away in front of them, as Michaud having to look in his mirrors and defend from Bergquist. Bergquist with a good run. I don't think it's going to be good enough to come alongside by the time they get to the S's.
Don't think it is either, and indeed he's going to back off, so he's going to have 2 more laps to try this out. Michaud losing a little bit of ground there again through the S's. That just doesn't look like his strongest part of the track.
No, it does not. And just to remind you, Michaud is our current second place driver in the points championship, so he's going to want to try and gain as many points as he can to stay within as much reach as he can of Robbie Campbell, who's currently in the lead. Right now, this is the battle for 5th position between Kyle Cameron, Michaud, and Bergquist, as they're all duking it out here, going through the long left-hander that is turn 2.
As they go, I thought for a second there Bergquist was going to have a run. He still might. Looks a little bit down to the inside there of Quebec. Not going to be enough. He's trying to do that same move he did last time and force Michaud out wide, but Michaud having nothing of it. He's got a little bit more of an advantage, but this has allowed for Cameron to slip away.
Michaud in second place in the points, Bergquist in third place in the points, both of them battling for their championship point standings right now on track as they come out of the Andretti. They come out of Moss hairpin, rather, for the second to last time. And it looks like the gap building a little bit. We'll see whether or not anyone can do it on the final lap. But Robbie Campbell has gone through, and I believe he has taken the white flag. I believe he has. It's going to be very tight on time. We'll see whether or not iRacing gives it to him. Here's Bradley Holly, though. He's stuck up behind Patrick Cowgill once again, and they've got Glenn Vanco, who's on a recovery drive himself, tucked in behind them.
Ooh, almost contact there between Cowgill and Holly as they come out of Moss, but I think that checked up Holly a little bit. Could that give him an advantage back to Vanco as they come down the Mario Andretti straightaway?
Yeah, Vanco unfortunately didn't get a great run himself either, so these 3 are going to stay where they are up until we get to the S's. I can report that Cameron, Michaud, and Bergquist have separated by a little bit entering this final lap. Campbell up in the lead with Johnny Luna in second and Richard Swindells in third. And here we go with Bradley Holly putting the pressure on Cowgill again.
Yeah, trying to do it. He's been able to catch it back up. Now he's got a good run coming out of White's. Is he going to have the guts to make the move down into 1? No, it looks like he's going to back off a little bit.
Well, we got to go to Robbie Campbell, rather, as he's coming to the line. The checker flag is out, and Robbie Campbell solid from start to finish with a great jump on the start, is able to take the win here at Mosport.
An absolutely commanding drive, and we're going to jump back to somebody who had to do a little bit more fighting and dighting for it, and that is Luna in Swindells, as Johnny Luna looks like he is going to cross the line to take second. Swindells just holding off Charles Sumner to do the same.
Absolutely, and we're going to head back to Cameron and Michaud as they are very close together with Bergquist. Bergquist trying to find his way through. Is he going to stick his nose up the inside? Can't quite get it done on the S's. Cameron 5th, Michaud 6th. Bergquist takes 7th, and the battle's still on between Bradley Hawley, Patrick Cowgill, and Glenn Vanco. Hawley was able to get Vanco.
Was indeed, just by sheer tenacity. Doesn't look like there that... Hawley was able to hold off Vanco. Oh, here comes a little bit of a move there, trying to hold it. And yes, he's going to be able to take it. That's a great move from Bradley Hawley.
Bradley Hawley able to get past Patrick Cowgill, rather, not Glenn Vanco. So that's going to be Hawley in 9th, Cowgill 10th, and Glenn Vanco in 11th positions. And they will be the last drivers to finish this race, as David Calhoun will come in behind them, 8 seconds behind them for 12th position. Wow, very, very exciting race here, DJ. So let's hop over to the results here. Robbie Campbell has taken the win in this GT4 AM series with Johnny Luna in 2nd place. Richard Swindells finishing in 3rd with Charles Sumner in 4th, close behind him. Kyle Kammer, after wrecking, recovering to 2nd, and then spinning twice more, comes home in 5th position ahead of Michael Michaud and Kevin Bergquist, who finished very close together for 6th and 7th. Baron Hilton in 8th. Bradley Hawley comes home 9th after getting wrecked early, with Patrick Cowgill in 10th.
In 11th, it was Glenn Vanco, followed by David Calhoun, and then the drivers finished a lap down or two. Peter Newhook, Michael Gagnon, and Jason Burmeister, with Kyle Robertson, Adam Young, and the rest of them unable to finish out here today.
So we're going to take our leader and our winner, Robbie Campbell, into the booth. Robbie, fantastic win today. Honestly, Robbie, it seems like you took that win off of the start. What was your thought heading into the final corner? Robbie, you got us? All right, we'll come back.
Sorry,
oh,
you got me
go.
there?
Perfect. Yes.
At the start of the race there, I knew it was going to be tight for me being in P1 at that last right-hander to head to the flag. I knew Kyle was going to have the advantage on the outside to get a better run, so I tried to get a jump on him as soon as I could and build up a gap as quick as I could.
Absolutely, and you definitely built that gap with the fastest lap on track as well as the fastest pit stop. And was your strategy always to go long and to pit last?
Yeah, it's kind of been my strategy all season. I know the McLaren is a little thirstier than the other cars on fuel, so I try and go as far as I can to maximize that and build up a gap as good as I can.
Well, considering you took pole position as well and the fastest lap, that's going to be 2 extra bonus points for you. But tell me, what is it about the McLaren that makes it the right car to drive around, especially this particular track? It seemed to have the advantage.
Honestly, I don't know if it was. I ran a few races this week in the official iRacing sessions, and coming out of Moss Corner, it seemed like the Porsches, when I was up against them, were able to get on the throttle a little quicker, having the weight over the back tires, where I had to just wait that split second longer to get on the throttle. So I think I was just able to maximize my start and build up enough gap, and just able to drive without having the pressure that some of the other guys did in the back.
Robbie Campbell, 5 out of 6 rounds won. Thanks for talking to us, Robbie, and we'll look forward to seeing you next round.
Thank you.
That was Robbie Campbell, our winner today. And we've also got Richard Swindells, who finished in 3rd, and he's caught up with DJ.
Well, Richard, I have to imagine that to describe that race in one word would be chaotic, but how was it for you behind the driver's seat, my friend?
To be honest, it was kind of what I was expecting. I've raced enough at Mosport to know that's how things go there.
Well, all right, man. I mean, you managed to avoid some of that first lap kerfluffle and then made it out ahead. Was it trying to push ahead as much as you can, or was it a lot of damage limitation today?
I wasn't really trying to push ahead. I was just trying to survive the first few laps, and I took it a little too easy, I think. But once I got going, everything was okay.
Well, there you go. I like to hear that it was okay, man. Anybody you'd like to thank for this podium here today?
I hate to do it, but I guess I got to thank Robbie Campbell. He brought me into the league. He told me about it. I just wish I joined in week 1. It's been a lot of fun. I'd like to thank you guys, of course, and PRL for hosting it. It's been a blast. I'm enjoying it tremendously.
Well, thank you very much. That was Richard Swindells, your finisher out here today. Adam?
Yeah, that's going to take us to a very brief break as we switch over to the GT3 Pro Series at Spa. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss that. We'll be back shortly after this break.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome back to the PRL GT series, and we're taking you now to Spa-Francorchamps with the GT3 Pro class, who are going to be racing around this particular track. And to learn a little bit more about this place, let's take you down to our track guide.
Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast, and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round.
Such a dynamic track, DJ, but these GT3 cars, even though the track is built for F1, they seem to fit really well around here.
They certainly do, and this is going to be a track that is going to be about the draft, the whole draft, and nothing but the draft. That run down from the source all the way up to Lacombe, that's going to be your best overtaking opportunity. But we're going to have to see how these GT3 drivers set up the car, because the run down the hill then is a series of fast sweepers that could catch some cars out. Now, we have seen some good overtaking moves on the run through Blanchimont and down into the bus stop. But who knows, with these wider cars, they may not fit twice as many through there.
Absolutely, but one driver who's fitting just fine at the top of the standings is Nicolas Rubelar, currently up there with 16 points of a lead over Carl Modov. Jesse Stevens, another 24 points back of the leader himself. Alessandro D'Attulio, 49 points back, and that's very close, just 2 points between himself and Dave Menino. Very tight up here between 4 and 5. Very interesting to see whether or not they'll be able to catch Jesse Stevens by the end of the season. But DJ, you've got the team points for us.
I do indeed, and it's a little bit of a more drawn-out story there with Punto CL Racing Black having a commanding 42-point lead over Delta Sport Falcon. And from there, it's a little bit of a Delta Sport scrap, with Raptor only about 12 points back of them, with Delta Sport Eagle a good ways back, but a good battle shaping up for fourth between them and Pure Sims Esports.
Absolutely, and for the details, once again, this is round 6 of 10 for these guys. The Porsche, McLaren, Ford, and Mercedes, Audi, Ferrari, Lambo, and BMW M4 all out here on this racetrack. Fantastic series with a lot of cars to choose from. 40-minute race here with an open setup for them to pick through. Once again, drive-throughs at 13 incidents and a disqualification at 17 incidents, which has actually happened this season. A bonus point for fastest lap pole or 4 or less incidents. And speaking of pole, 30 seconds left in the session to decide pole. Currently, Nicolas Rubelar up there in front of Alessandro D'Attulio, who's decided to be done with his particular times. Paul Munoz in third, Lewis Goodway fourth, and Horatio Calquin fifth.
Yeah, so a good battle shaping up there at the top. And one thing to keep in mind here, you see a lot of these Punto CL drivers, as they make their way down the Kemmel Straight, they're using the draft to their advantage to try to get some things going here. So let's see. Rubelar's leading the pack, so I don't expect him to have a fast lap this time, but some of his teammates behind, well, they may be the lucky ones.
Absolutely. Rubelar has a 5/10 of a second lead over D'Attulio. Munoz still on track, as well as Goodway, but Munoz actually not in this train for these guys at all. Goodway back there in fourth, and Calquin is actually right behind Rubelar, so trying to drag Calquin up into the top of this. And here comes Arnaud Janot, who's going to try and come around the final turn and set his first lap of the day. Spa, always known for getting a lot of incidents, which can disallow your lap time.
Yeah, you read my mind on that one. That is certainly something that drivers are going to have to check out for. Genet, they're not able to do a whole lot. Let's see if Ferguson in that Pure Sims Esports machine is going to be able to do anything. He's one of the few, I believe the only Audi driver out here today. Nice improvement for him. That'll bump him up to 6th.
Good run for him. Christopher Ryan's another driver who's trying to set his first qualifying time in the BMW. Great run there through Blanchimont, and here we go into the bus stop. On the brakes hard, hits it pretty well. A little bit of a late apex on the first one, able to clip the curb on the second one, get the power down, and as he crosses the line, that's going to be a 218.252. That's going to set him in 23rd.
Yes, it is. Going back to Gonzalo Cortez here. Let's see if he's got anything to pull himself up from 14th. He's going to cross the line. Looks like that's not going to be good for Gonzalo. Looking at some of the next drivers to come across, I think here we go. Lewis Goodway. This is going to be a solo lap for him. He's pulling off. I think he knows that's a bad one.
Yeah, just got a little bit too much on the throttle through that final sector. He looked like he had a decent time going, just a little bit loose there. But here comes Dave Menino. He is not our last driver to finish, but one of the close ones towards the back, trying to improve on a 217.11. Going to cross the line, a 216.938. Good enough to put him up to 18th.
He'll be pretty pleased with that. Here comes Ferragiano right now coming across the line, the independent driver of the 41 machine. Going to be able to improve by about 0.5 of a second. That'll bump him up about 5 positions. Pedro Berger also able to improve. He'll be in 10th.
And that is actually going to complete our qualifying session for these guys. Lyndon Swaby back there in the back of the field has yet to pull off of the track, unfortunately. So we'll sit here and wait out the last little bit of this. But DJ, this is a really tough track for these guys. It's especially difficult just because of all the elevation changes and what that compression and decompression does to the car and its handling.
It certainly does. It really upsets the balance of the car. And when you have a much stiffer suspension car like a single-seater, you get more of that through your body, and so you don't have to worry about it as much. But when you're in these GTs, it can really throw the car out of whack if you're not careful. So they're going to have to watch it. And as you said earlier, Adam, they're really going to have to watch these off tracks because they will come to bite you.
Absolutely. So as the qualifying session runs down, we're going to start and go to our grid here. And Nicolas Rubilar actually takes the pole position right now with Alessandro Di Tullio in second place, lining up alongside him. Paulo Munoz is going to line up in third position with Lewis Goodway in fourth. Horatio Calquin going to start off fifth with Daniel Ferguson in sixth position. Row 4 is going to go to David Holland and J.R. Williams, with 9th and 10th being Jean-Francois Godin and Chris Ferragonio.
In 11th, it's going to be Connor Bell, followed by Dave Menino, with Lyndon Swaby in 13th and Philip Magnan in 14th. Behind them, it's Daniel Ferguson and Carl Modoff, with Connor Wagner and Alessandro Di Tullio, Horatio Calquin and James David behind them.
Then we've got, like we said, James David in that 21st position with Anand Janot in 22nd. Christopher Ryan's 23rd. Lyndon Swaby is going to be 24th with Felipe Magnan in 25th. And Ted Lowendick is going to be your last folk who is not qualified. He's going to start off in 26th position.
So remember, it's a bit of a short pace lap here. They do start just after Blanchimont, just waiting for the rest of the grid to get all together here. But Adam, this is only a 40-minute race, but rest assured it is going to be a race where I think we're going to see a lot of battling. And even on the first lap, just trying to get those moves down the Kemmel Straight are going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I would expect a lot of drivers to try and put some heavy pressure onto each other into Eau Rouge, a little bit of peer pressure to be like, no, you lift, and see who's going to go through there, try and do that side by side, because that really does slow you down when you get up onto the Kemmel Straight. And if anyone goes side by side through there, we're going to have some serious passing. We've seen as much as 5 wide on the Kemmel Straight in the past in GSRC, and I could see probably 3 wide with these large wide GT3 machines if they get spicy enough.
Oh, I think that's for certain as the pace car starts to head off here when we get ready to go around Blanchimont, and then it's just to the bus stop. That pace car will pull in, and we get ready to go racing.
Absolutely. Nicolas Rubilar leading off the field with Paulo Munoz in second, Goodway third, Owen Watson fourth, and Pedro Berger in fifth position. So a little bit of light flashing there from Pedro, actually, in his actually that was Jesse Stevens in sixth in his BMW. But the pace car pulling off after they go through the first of the 2 chicanes here at the bus stop, and Nicolas Rubilar will be in control of the field at the point where the pace car pulls off. So he's actually going to go quite early. He's going to wait. So let's see whether or not he decides to take them around to the endurance start. Whether or not that was a gentleman's agreement, we'll find out here. And waiting for the green flag. We're still waiting, so I think they are going to go around to the endurance start. So here we go. We're going to head around what is turn 1, and then they will start on the back straight.
All right, so they're getting ready to do it here, Adam.
And there we go. Nicholas Rubilar off like a rocket. Paulo Munoz, not a great start. He's actually got Alessandro Tullio right alongside him. Paulo Munoz and Tullio right side by side. They've got really bottled up there in the background, almost side by side as they go through Eau Rouge, down through Radion. A little bit of a curb stomp from Tullio. He loses a little bit of time. He's under pressure from Munoz, but it's all pretty clean towards the back.
Yeah, the only off I see was Pedro Berger getting off there and going a little bit wide, but here comes that draft fest. You can see that swarm of GTs coming towards you. Not a lot of overtaking as much as I thought there would be as they go down into Lacombe.
Owen Watts gets overtaken by Carl Moda for the 7th position. Jean-Francois Godin in the background trying to take advantage, can't quite do so. Side by side between Raymond Yip and Connor Wagner, as well as James Davis, Ted Lowendick, and Arnaud Janot in the back of the field, all trying to go side by side as well. But Nicholas Rubilar still leading by half a second as we head down the hill.
Yeah, Rubilar starting to pull out a little bit of an advantage here as Munoz and Tullio are scrapping a little bit. Everybody looking relatively clean through Jackie Ickx as they make their way down to Pujol.
Pedro Berger with a really bad first lap, all the way down to 24th position for him, unfortunately. But as we go sweeping through this beautiful downhill, now into Fanny's, Rubilar doing a great job leading this field. Tullio has now gotten a little bit free from Munoz and is starting to close that gap down again.
Yes, he is, and this front of the field starting to separate by about a half a second here and there, but very, very tight up in the back. You can see some of the support areas there as they run on by. Now here's the other draft range as they make their way out of Stavelot and make that long run to Blanchimont.
Absolutely. Jean-Francois Godin actually under pressure from Jesse Stevens for the 9th position as they go through Blanchimont up here with our leaders. And here is that battle that I was talking about. Jesse Stevens putting some pressure on to the green machine of Jodin. And as they go off track, they're just a little bit, their first off track of the day. Stevens going to look to the inside, try to outbreak Jodin into the corner. Here we go. And side by side behind them between Felipe Riquelme and Gonzalo Cortez as well. Cortez going to come out better that one.
Yeah, Cortez able to get the move done there, and it looks like it may stick for a minute, but Riquelme trying to have a little bit more to say about it. Starts to poke his nose to the outside, thinking about a move down into La Source, but that's not going to happen.
So the draft train's going to start up again as they come down the hill from the first turn through Eau Rouge and up Radion once again as we're riding on board looking at towards the back. I believe that's Horatio Calquin that we're looking at. We're on board with Gonzalo Cortez actually looking towards Riquelme behind him for that 12th and 13th position. Not a great run through Radion for Cortez. I think Riquelme is going to have an opportunity here. It might be one of those 3 wide moments.
It may indeed. There goes Cortez, but he's going to try it. They're looking at it. Are they going to get it done? Ooh, a little bit of contact, and that's Cortez around. Ooh, and a flip. That's a flipping car.
Absolutely. That was Cortez getting turned around, and that was David C. Holland who ended up getting flipped there, unfortunately. So all caught on screen there as we saw that intense battle happening. They'll all try and recover. We're taking a look at this replay.
Yeah, we're going to need to see this again. Driving on board here with David Holland. You can see that 2 wide up in front of him. So there they go, diving down into the corner. There's the contact. Holland just trying to avoid it and just pinned by Cortez.
Well, it looks like Paulo Munoz is starting to get under heavy pressure from Louis Goodway for the 3rd position with these guys. And Paulo Munoz way falling off the back of Tullio as we start to get into our 2nd lap.
Yeah, Munoz just doesn't look like he quite has the pace, and he's falling into the clutches there of Louis Goodway a little bit. The highest place as he gets up and going. I'm sorry, we're farther back in the field than that.
So here we go. Up there, Louis Goodway in 4th position. Horatio Calquin in 5th. Chasing down Paulo Munoz in that 3rd spot as we go through. Beautiful job. Really close there between all those guys, and a little bit of contact actually in the background between Chris Ferrangonio and Felipe Riquelme, who's trying to make his recovery once again. Once again, all of these guys so tight together. Paulo Munoz starting to hold up the field.
Yeah, he really is. Munoz looking like he's just lacking a little bit of speed there, so Goodway's going to try to make the push. Surprise of nobody. That is Nicholas Rubilar setting the fastest lap time. Cal Quinn looked like he had a little bit of a look there coming off of La Source, so here comes the draft train. Who's got that higher engine rev?
who's got the higher engine rev, who can get through Radeon cleanly, because that's the key. You got to make this long sweeper, that right-hander, and then clip that apex perfectly so you don't unsettle the car. And believe it or not, I think Goodway's got a decent run here. Munoz moving over to the right side to try and block off the move. Goodway's going to have to go on the outside if he's going to make this work. Munoz moves back to the racing line. Everyone moves back to the racing line. Almost contact. There is contact between Calquin and Munoz. Oh, they're all spinning.
Oh, everybody going around there, and it's an absolute travesty as we see again contact through Lacombe for those two drivers, and you see the way they're rubbing. Oh, they're going to collect more cars!
Coming back on track. They both tried to re-enter at the same time and ended up catching out Arnaud Janot.
I don't think the stewards are going to look too happily at that. So there you see a little bit of bump there in the back. That sends Munoz around. Munoz gets the hit. And then let's keep our cameras here as they come on to rejoin. That's where we're going to go on board here to check out that second impact.
Here's Carl Modoff, who's watching this all happen up ahead of him. And this rejoin happens behind them, actually, with... wow, look at all that chaos. Carl Modoff doing a great job of navigating through that. On board with Munoz as they come back on track. Wow, he just drove straight to the side of him.
That's going to earn him a seat on the naughty step, I think, Adam. I do not think the stewards are going to take too kindly to that move from Munoz.
To be honest, he's probably looking in his rearview mirror, not even paying attention to the 74. But unfortunately, that's still not going to look great when you look back at it on the replay. But once again, we're taking a look at this battle for first position as DeTulio has closed the gap down to 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, DeTulio finding a little bit of pace here. I'm starting to wonder if he's maybe holding back a little bit, potentially running a fuel strategy run, just trying to keep in touch with Rubilar. Looks like it's growing a little bit on the straights. Maybe there's a bit of a downforce difference between the two as well.
Oh, wow. Look at this. Quite a big juggle right there. I think that was Horatio Calquin who ended up getting a little bit loose. We're taking a look at this battle with Ferguson, who's currently right now in the third position. Then we got Modoff, Calquin, and then Owen Watts, who's actually possibly with a great opportunity to make a move on Calquin. Actually, I think Jesse Stevens is coming up as well, so this is a three-way battle for fourth position. Owen Watts looks to the inside of Calquin. Stevens decides to back out of it. Here we go again.
And I think they're going to keep it at least a little bit more civil there. Ooh, that's a bump off there for the Lamborghini of Watts, and he's going to try to slot back into line. Stevens is going to get a little aggressive, trying to see if he can maybe have a move going down into Radeon here. Is he going to do it? No, they're going to stay single file.
Really close between these guys for sure, as Jesse Stevens taking a look, trying to get underneath Owen Watts. Couldn't do it that time around. But now with a great run, unfortunately, there aren't that many great places to pass around this track once you get past the Kemmel Straight. So once again, Jesse Stevens riding on board with him as he's trying to put pressure on Owen Watts. This is a place where you could try and make a move if you're risky enough. He decides to think better of it as they head to Phoenix.
Well, I think with only about 10 minutes gone, or 9 minutes gone, rather, here in this race, it's a little bit too early to be thinking about those moves for Jesse Stevens, so I have to say discretion, the better part of valor for the 36. That's a good call for him.
Absolutely, and as we continue watching this particular battle, I can also report that up ahead of them, Carl Modoff has closed the gap to Daniel Ferguson for that third position, and DeTulio's starting to fall off of Rubilar as Rubilar's gotten his feet back under him. The gap out to about a second.
Yeah, it may have just been a little bit of a scruffy lap there for Rubilar, and that's what allowed for DeTulio to close back in. Continued right on board here, though, with Jesse Stevens as everybody. Constantina's up through the bus stop chicane, right up the back there of Owen Watts' Lamborghini, but it looks like Watts is able to get a slightly better run.
All right, so here's the opportunity. You got to find a way to set this up and try and set up a move going up the hill, and I believe we've had a couple people take it to the pit lane. Lewis Goodway is going to get some pit lane work done, as well as Felipe Magnan. But here we go, up, down through Eau Rouge, and up through Radeon once again as we do that sweeping left, sweeping right over the hill. So challenging for all these drivers, but look at this run Stevens has got on Watts.
And that was a massive
what
wiggle.
A block!
Whoa, that was a massive wiggle for Owen Watts coming over Radion, and a massive block thrown there as Jesse Stevens is at least able to get slightly alongside. Stevens may have his blood up a little bit, but he's got the preferred line through Lacombe, and he's got the position.
I think Chris Watts realized that trying to turn in on Stevens there probably would have ended in disaster because Stevens probably wasn't too happy there. But we're going to take a look at this replay because this is about as close as you can get in iRacing.
Yeah, it really and truly is. So there you see that move to the outside.
Oh.
Watts goes for the block. That is the perfect amount of lift, as they say in the business, for Jesse Stevens, and they dive down here into the corner.
And that's at 150 miles an hour, DJ. Like, these guys, as they make contact, one of them's going off. But once again, Jesse Stevens, having made that pass, he's not really running away from Owen Watts. He's catching up to the back of Horatio Calquin at this point. But we're taking a look at Carl Modoff, who's chasing down Daniel Ferguson for third.
And this is a little bit interesting here, Adam. You know, it looks like that Ferguson is able to pull away on the straights a little bit, and Modoff is able to catch back up through the twisty bits. Now, that's not what I would necessarily expect from these two makes of cars. The Audi is known as being a little bit more nimble, a little bit more bitey. It can come back and bite you in the backside if you're not careful. But I would not expect it to have a better top-line speed than the Porsche. And it just looks like that Porsche is falling off whenever they get to a straight portion of the track.
A lot of Audi drivers very used to being on the edge of control. Look at this. Ferguson a little bit deep into the bus stop, but able to hold on to it there. Modoff with a decent exit off of the final bus stop turn. Here we go, up to turn one. Let's see whether or not Modoff takes it deep on the brakes or whether he's going to try and set it up for a pass as they head into Eau Rouge again.
Looks like it's going to be the latter. Modoff just trying to get that angle right as they come out of La Source, plunging down the hill now. Speed starting to pick up between the two. Looks like already there's a little bit of a speed advantage for Modoff, but is it going to be enough? That Audi streaking away a little bit sideways, coming up over the crest, but still able to hold on. But here comes Modoff.
Absolutely, Modoff was able to keep it straight versus Ferguson, who got a little squirrely. Look at the speed difference as they come across here. Modoff with a great move. He goes late on the brakes as well, clipping that curb to perfection. Move Modoff up to third.
And Carl Modoff just absolutely proving me wrong there about a setup choice. Great move from the 984, so he'll be up into that final podium position for now. Behind them, a little bit of a three-way battle going on here between Calquin, Stevens, and Watts.
Yeah, Stevens has got to get his way past Calquin because Calquin is definitely holding up Stevens here, but Stevens couldn't make the move up on the Kemmel straight this time by. Watts is actually looking on these two guys. I think Stevens and Calquin are a little faster than Watts at the moment, but Stevens, if he's stuck up behind Calquin, I think Watts might try and take this opportunity to jump back at him.
Yeah, I think he might. And the way things are going, it still may play out pretty well. Let's see as they work their way through the chicane. Little bit of a gain there for Stevens.
Yeah, Watts a little bit off of the apex there, so unfortunately he falls back a little bit, but Stevens once again gets a nice short exit off of that corner. These are two BMWs challenging each other between Calquin and Stevens. Stevens currently in the third position in the championship. He wants to get this position as desperately as he can.
Yes, he very much does. Wants to get up and get those points, try to close down. Coming here through Blanchimont, very tricky to get right. Looks like Stevens does it pretty well. He's got a good run. Is he going to try to make a move to the bus stop? He certainly pokes his nose out like he's going to try to do it, but no, he's going to be a little bit early on the brakes and just try to line up Calquin ahead.
I think Stevens is a little gun shy after having Watts cross him over on the Kemmel straight, so he wants to be a little bit cautious and not cause an incident, because if Calquin would have went back to the racing line there and Stevens was already on the brakes, that would have been disaster. But Stevens with a decent exit here off of the turn. Let's see whether or not this is going to end up being good up the hill. So here we go into Eau Rouge, then Radion. Eau Rouge first as we dive down across the river, now up through Radion, going over the hill. Stevens with a decent exit. Watts got actually the best exit out of the three of them, but Stevens should be able to get alongside this time. He's going to have to go on the outside as Calquin covers the inside.
Yes, he will, Stevens. Ooh, a little bit of a pinch there for Cal Quinn. Cal Quinn a little bit later on the brakes. Is that going to help him out? Almost contact from Watts behind, but Stevens is going to hold the racing line. Oh, but that's a fight back there for Cal Quinn.
Yeah, but this is going to make him susceptible to Watts, who's looking up the inside now. Watts trying to take advantage of this as they head down this long, steep, sweeping right-hander that's so hard on the front tires. Watts with the nose ahead, but contact between the two of them. More contact. They managed to keep it going straight. Cal Quinn able to regain that position. Can Watts swap him over?
Oi, 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 everything changing, and this has allowed for Chris Ferraggiano to come up behind there as well in that other BMW, so a Lamborghini and a Beamer sandwich right now. You can see there Watts trying to find a way by through the sweeping Pujol.
Absolutely, Lambo's not a small car, but the BMW much larger than the Lambo for sure. Ferraggiano going in behind them. Here we go, riding on board with Cal Quinn, looking back at Watts. You can see just how much more squat that Lambo is. Cal Quinn actually doing a good job catching up to Stevens once again. So he's not letting Stevens get away at this point, but Watts, you can see just how aggressively he's driving back there, trying to hang on to the back of him.
Yeah, he really is, and I've got to worry a little bit if that's going to overload anything as he goes along, but they're really making a move here.
Absolutely. Look at this. Watts right up the rear bumper of Cal Quinn. Is he going to make a move into the braking zone? He thinks better of it, so they're all going to stay in line once again. I'm keeping my eyes on this, as well as keeping my eyes on third position between Carl Modoff and Daniel Ferguson. Ferguson tried to move last lap on Modoff. That didn't pay off either. So a lot of drivers currently trying to make moves. Like you said, that draft train definitely in effect. But here we go, into the braking zone again. Watts decides to take a late break into that corner. Not a great exit, but Ferraggiano is not having a good exit either. Let's see whether or not Watts can make it work up Eau Rouge.
Well, here he goes. It's all about keeping that car nice and tight. We saw Watts have a big wiggle there before. Tries to get it now. I think he's got a good run if he wants it on Cal Quinn. He's going to be pushing for it.
All right, and here we go. A good move from Watts. He's going to take a look to the inside. He's going to go late on the brakes. So is Cal Quinn. Cal Quinn hanging on the outside. Watts giving him room. This is side by side as they go through the corners. But Watts has the inside, sweeping on towards the straight, and he's going to get it done. Move Watts up to 6th.
So these battles just continuing to go on and on and on here as everything swaps back and forth. Really making this a tough race for everybody. Nobody's seeming to be safe.
Absolutely, and then we can expect some pit stops probably at the end of this lap to start off those folks who are going to come in early, so it'll be very interesting. Just to note, Horatio Cal Quinn currently himself currently has dropped, unfortunately, one spot from his starting position because he didn't get the greatest start. He's currently pressuring Watts at the moment, so Cal Quinn doing a great job. Oh, he almost loses it there. Holy smokes, Cal Quinn.
That was awfully close from Cal Quinn. Let's check out the replay, Adam.
This is going to be full opposite lock for Cal Quinn and a dab of brakes. We're riding on board. Take a look at his hands as he comes around this corner.
Yeah, look at this indeed. Comes through on the binders. Starts to feel it go right about here, I believe.
Oh. Yeah, that's full right rear in the dirt, full opposite lock to get that thing back on track. I mean, I've tried to save cars at that particular angle before, and I can't get it done, so props to Cal Quinn for hanging on to that thing.
Yeah, an absolutely incredible move there from him. Checking in on our leader, though, who has just continued to dominate here, and kudos to him for it.
Absolutely. Nicolas Rubilar doing a great job up at the front of the field. He's been able to gap to Alessandro Di Tullio by the tune of 2.5 seconds. Now, that's not the biggest gap, actually, but it has put Di Tullio outside of the draft range. So unfortunately for Di Tullio cannot get the draft or benefit from the fuel savings that comes with it.
Yeah, so that's not going to help him, but we're going to check back in on that battle for P3. Daniel Ferguson and that Audi not letting Carl Modoff out of his sights quite yet.
Not at all. Carl Modoff has been doing a good job to pull away a little bit from Ferguson and not allow Ferguson to attack. Now, Ferguson did make an attack 2 laps ago. Last lap, he did not attack up the Kendall Straight. So fortunately for Modoff, that took the pressure off a little bit, but Modoff looks very loose right now out on that AstroTurf.
Yeah, he really does. Modoff looking like he's struggling a little bit to keep everything under control, running a little bit wide there through Puhal.
Absolutely, and doing a good job as they enter fan use once again. Ferguson closing in on Modoff. Just a little bit under the braking, so I think that Porsche's tires, the rear tires, starting to heat up on that Porsche, which is causing some problems for sure. Still, it's very tight between all of our drivers. Only about 30 seconds between our leader and 20th position, so we're all tangled up in one sector of this particular track, and I think a lot of that comes down to the conditions they're racing under here, DJ.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Just the 68 degrees on track temperature, a little bit cooler than what you'd expect, so drivers probably having to keep their tires in mind as the way they do this.
Absolutely, because the tires can scrub a little bit more. They can wear a little bit more under these cold temperatures. So it's one of those things where there's a sweet spot for every tire when it comes to their performance. And 68's actually a little cool for these guys. So Ferguson taking it very deep into the corner here. Wow, very early apex, actually. So a late break, but an early apex. He's definitely trying to catch back up to the back of Modoff and utilize, at the very least, all that fuel saving that he's getting tucked into the draft.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where we're going to see that come into play here as we tick down under halfway through this race. Remember, a lot of these guys tend to come in as late as possible, but this looks like it could be a little bit of a good run here for Ferguson if he wants it. But again, backs off a little bit.
Absolutely. He's definitely thinking about that fuel saving. We'll see whether or not Chris Ferragonio is thinking about the fuel saving as he's tucked up behind Calquin, and he does, but a move behind them, actually. That was Connor Bell taking a peek at Jean-Francois Godin.
It was indeed.
Yeah, this is the battle for P9 right now, and this is actually about 5 cars long with... This is Jean-Francois Godin. We're riding on board with Connor Bell. Felipe Riquelme is tucked in behind these guys, as well as J.R. Williams, Dave Menino, and Connor Wagner. So quite a few drivers tucked into this battle.
Indeed, quite a few really, really getting into it as and one mistake out of any of these could lead to an absolute calamity like we saw earlier.
So as they head down to fan use one more time, Connor Bell trying to get into the head of Godin. Once again, GT racing is all about that mentality and getting into the mind of the driver ahead of you. We saw that happening in the GT4 AM race just a couple of moments ago at Mosport, and now these GT3s at Spa, similar thing. Looks like Godin in his Porsche starting to get a little bit loose. Connor Bell seems to be doing a little bit better keeping the rear end underneath him.
Yeah, he does. He certainly does. And look at that run. He's getting through Blanchimont. That may be a little bit of a help for Bell if he can keep it together here.
He's looking for the inside, thinks better of it. Oh, here he goes. He's making that dive, making the dive to the inside. I thought he was going to back out, but decides not to. Connor Bell up the inside. He's going to try and do the over-under on the front straight. Can't quite get it done. And Riquelme, I think, has taken to the pits.
Yes, he has. So that is our first scheduled pit stop here coming in on lap 10. I take that back. I think Pedro Berger actually came in and did the same thing earlier. So we've got two drivers coming in to decide to make that swap.
Absolutely. Another driver coming in is Arnaud Genet. So he's come into his own pit box. And so quite a few drivers. We're looking right now at Pedro Berger, who's done his pit stop. So he's got quite a long ways. But that being said, this pit lane is immensely long, DJ. 1 minute, 10 seconds on the lane. And it's only, I think, 37 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's a painfully long straight.
Oh, Connor Bell just made the move. There he is, going past Jean-Francois Godin.
Did indeed. Let's check out the replay on this, Adam.
This is just your simple, well, I mean, it's not super simple. Spa is very difficult to race at regardless of what you're doing. But when it comes to passes up the Kemmel Straight, this is as easy as they come.
Yeah, it is indeed just a well, as you said, quote unquote, simple move down to the inside later on the brakes. And thank you very much. I'll take that position.
So definitely a good move there. Godin's not leaving him alone, though, still tucked up behind him. J.R. Williams actually missing the apex just a moment ago has allowed David Menino to close in behind him. But look at this, Godin unhappy being passed, either that or he wants to stay right in behind for that fuel saving.
It may be a little column A, a little column B, as there you see Godin just trying to hold on there as they work their way down the hill. Now behind them, you can see that little bit of the battle shaping up as well with J.R. Williams and Dave Menino. Menino, the only McLaren in this field.
Absolutely. So there you see Godin putting the pressure on Connor. He's really getting close. He loses it just a little bit going through the corner. So Godin's going to have to pull back. Looks like nobody in this particular group is taking to the pits this time. So everyone's staying in position right now.
Everybody being a little bit calm, a little bit collected here. We'll have to see if any havoc breaks out once we get onto the Kemmel Straight here. This is a pretty good battle. I do have my eyes set ahead for that battle for third that does seem to have stabilized in front of them. But we ride on board here looking out the back of Connor Bell. Let's see if Godin's got a response.
Does Godin have a response for Bell? Does Menino have a response for Williams? Is Williams going to get enough of a draft from Godin in order to stay ahead of Menino? All these questions are going to be answered right now.
Well,
look at this, a weave from Connor Bell.
Ooh, let's call that a little bit of a Simon Pagenaud move there from Connor Bell as he moves back and forth. But that's Godin very, very late onto the brakes into Lacombe.
Absolutely. So Godin definitely trying to put the pressure on, but as he's trying to put the pressure on, he's actually allowing himself to get caught up by J.R. Williams, who's tucked in behind them now. Dave Menino has fallen a little bit into the clutches of Connor Wagner behind them. So this is now, well, I mean, it has been a 5-car battle, but it's definitely shaping up to be more of one as Williams is going to start to get held up behind Godin and further forward. Christopher Ryans has come into the pits. He's our next taker of the pit lane. So he's going to fall back, I believe, to around 21st position with his pit stop.
Yeah, he'll be there. You can see him getting out and on underway. Already over a minute there spent in pit lane. All of these other drivers, I think, just trying to work this down as much as they can.
Absolutely, and I think you're going to want to go as long as you possibly can around here just because of how long that pit lane is. And the least amount of time you can spend on pit lane, the better, just because of how slow it is, too. If you spend an extra second on pit lane, that is quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it really and truly is. Watching here, Modoff and Ferguson, that battle we've kind of had our eyes on for a long time. Looks like neither driver opting to go down the pits here.
But Rubilar and DeTulio are in the pits. Our leader and second place have taken to pit lane with 13 minutes to go left in this race.
Owen Watts also coming in, as is Horatio Calquin, and a whole stream behind.
I think this is the whole group that we've been watching. So Connor Bell into the pits, Godin into the pits, Williams, Menino, Wagner, everyone into the pit lane now, except for Modoff, Ferguson, Stevens, and Faragonio.
All right, so a couple of guys choosing to stay out here, and we'll have to see if that helps or hurts them. But yeah, Raymond Yip, the only other one who is opting to stay out right now.
So only 5 cars staying out. Daniel Ferguson lifting and coasting behind Carl Modoff, who's currently in the lead. Modoff is our current leader with Ferguson in second place. Stevens, Faragonio, and Raymond Yip have yet to stop. Rubilar in his box.
Yeah, waiting for everybody to get through this and just impeccably long pit lane here at this point. Waiting for some of the leaders to come in. There's Rubilar out and on his way. Looks like DeTulio is out as well.
Yeah, DeTulio spent an extra 2 seconds on pit lane than Rubilar, so that battle, unfortunately, not going to continue to shape up. So Rubilar with a fantastic gap now over DeTulio to the tune of 7 seconds.
It's a big lead there out front for Nicholas Rubilar. Gaps look like they've relatively stabilized behind. Nothing too crazy as everybody else gets their way out of the pits.
Absolutely, and this pit exit is a tough one for sure. And believe it or not, Connor Bell has, wow, J.R. Williams jumped a couple of drivers. So Felipe Riquelme actually spent 2 seconds shorter on the lane than anyone else, really. 9.3 seconds is the fastest pit stop we've seen. Connor Bell with 11.1. He's now got J.R. Williams pressuring him behind.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle here, Porsche versus Porsche. We really haven't seen JR involved in too much thus far during the race, so let's see what he's got for Connor Bell. We obviously saw that amazing battle between him and Godin.
Our leaders are in.
Earlier.
Carl Modoff and Daniel Ferguson coming into the pit lane this time. Jesse Stevens as well as Chris Ferragonio. I believe Raymond Yip will follow suit. So this will be everyone having pitted, and that is the case. So Rubelar will inherit the lead once again with a 7-second lead over Tullio as Modoff, Ferguson, Stevens, Ferragonio, and Yip take the pit lane.
All right, so that is absolutely everybody in. Now the rest of our leaders, it looks like, are coming through the entrance to the straightaway before Blanchimont down through Stavolo right now. So we'll have to see how they come out compared to the rest of the field.
Well, remember that when they came to pit lane, they were about 10 seconds behind Rubelar. So Rubelar now coming out of the final turn across the line. And here it is. We're going to take a look at the comparison between Modoff and Ferguson, because this is a very close battle on track, and Ferguson's been saving a lot of fuel behind Modoff, but Modoff, as we know, is very good on the very light on the throttle pedal himself. So here we go. Let's see who comes out first.
All right, just watching and waiting at this point. Oh, that is a very quick stop for Modoff.
Also for Ferguson, Ferguson's stop was actually a little shorter, but he couldn't get on the gas quick enough, and so now that puts Modoff up ahead.
It does indeed, as it looks like they dropped Stevens pretty heartily. Closed in a little bit on Alessandro Tullio, though, it has to be said.
Absolutely. So this battle is definitely not done at the front of the field. If Modoff can get himself going forward, he can catch up to the back of Tullio, and now Ferguson is definitely going to have to make this pass on track. He's been resisting it up to this point. Side by side now between for 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Almost 3 wide, actually, between David Menino. That is Raymond Yip, who's just now getting off a pit lane. Oh, contact there between Menino and Berger, as Berger manages to save it, and Menino manages to save it as well.
Whew, so some contact that didn't quite go as disastrously as we've seen in earlier races, thank goodness.
So taking a look at this replay, I think it was just a little bit too much. I don't think Menino hit his breaking point the way that he wanted to. We're going to see it right here.
All right, so we're riding on board with Dave here.
Oh, yeah, he missed it.
Yeah, he missed it there. Maybe a little bit of ghost contact, but good from both drivers to be able to finish up doing that.
Yeah, Menino was about a quarter second late on his brakes, and that sends you a good 50 to 100 feet long in these GT3s, even with their anti-lock braking systems. So a real challenge for these drivers to hang on to these things, but good job from Berger to hang on to that car, and good job from Menino to not make the bad situation worse.
We're going to jump over here to that battle for P10 that we talked about when they came out of the pits. This is Connor Bell and J.R. Williams. Connor Bell able to pull away a little bit to the tune of about 0.6 of a second. Well, as we continue to watch this battle, Williams trying to pull in a little bit on the back of Bell. Gets very close there, under braking as they go down the start-finish straight here. Maybe he's going to have something as they start to make this move. Bell looks like he's pulling away a little bit as they keep going down through the source. Let's wait and see where this comes out. Williams losing a little bit of momentum, going offline there. Not sure why you wouldn't want to tuck up behind fully in that draft, but they continue going. Here it is as they get up over the hill.
Absolutely, and J.R. Williams actually falling back a little bit from Connor Bell, as you mentioned. And he's got a head of steam, but I don't think he's going to have enough of a head of steam in order to close in behind Bell enough to make this pass. So no, he definitely does not. So J.R. Williams losing that opportunity to make the pass on Bell. But that being said, they are definitely reeling in Riquelme again, who took that short pit stop. When they came out of the pits, the gap was about 3 seconds. They've got it down to 2.
Yeah, indeed, they do. Just trying to pull that in the best they can at this point. But I don't know, with only 6 minutes to go here, Adam, that's only about 3 or 4 laps. That may not be enough.
It may not be. Now, I want to bring up one driver who's our biggest mover of the day so far, Ted Lowendick in 16th position. He's under pressure from James David, but Ted Lowendick has been outpacing a lot of drivers, and actually has he's also benefited from the attrition that we've seen. Currently, we've got Gonzalo Cortez, Felipe Mignon, Paulo Munoz, Louis Goodway, and David C. Holland all in the pit lane. Now, 4 of those drivers are from incidents that we saw at the end of the Kemmel Straight. But Ted Lowendick doing a good job down here, clinging to as many positions as he can get.
Yeah, it's good to see Teddy doing well here on a tricky track. Always a bit of a low-key favorite here on GSRC because of the ridiculous things that he does happen to put up in his room for us, as Nicholas Rubelar sets the fastest lap of the race.
Absolutely, but I believe that Jared Williams is closing in on Connor Bell once again for that 10th position as we keep our eyes on that. Nicholas Rubelar, as you mentioned, 8 seconds ahead of DeTulio. Carl Modoff has not been able to close that 2.5-second gap, so he's still clinging to the back of that. But we're watching right now the battle between Connor Bell and J.R. Williams. J.R. Williams with a better run this particular time through the bus stop. Now let's see whether or not he can get the source right.
Yeah, looks like he's a little bit tighter there. Yeah, he's going to get a good run. Now it all comes down to LaSource and Reddion, like we talked about. Again, Williams getting offline a little bit there.
He doesn't want to be too close through Eau Rouge and Reddion, as that would cause him to have to lift. But now he's got a decent run. Now let's see whether or not Connor Bell pulls a little bit of a Pagano and tries to weave here on the straight. Here we go heading towards the corner. J.R. Williams is going to look to the outside. Connor Bell pulls a little bit of a fruit fade coming across, but he stays on that racing line. J.R. Williams is going to try and cross him over here, get a little bit of a better run onto the short chute. Here we go through the corner. J.R. Williams on board with him now as he's trying to wrestle this 10th place away from Connor.
Yeah, he's really trying to work him here. Clock ticking down under 4 minutes, trying to do absolutely everything he can. Maybe a look there through Jackie Ickx, but not enough to do it.
So we'll be keeping our eyes on Nicholas Rubelar as he is just about halfway through the lap. We'll see whether or not he ends up getting done with the lap in time to... Yeah, of course, he'll probably get 2 more at the line. So this battle, Connor Bell's going to have to hold off J.R. Williams for another 2 laps. Oh, Connor Wagner and Peter Berger. Peter Berger just made a move on Wagner into Fangies.
Oh my goodness, you don't see that every day, but an incredible move nonetheless. Let's check out that replay there, Adam.
And this might be a little bit of teammate coordination. We'll see here. I think that Wagner lifted a bit here, but you could see that Berger really had a great run. He looks to the inside of Wagner, and Wagner doesn't put up much of a challenge into Fangies and lets Berger go through.
Lets him on through, but I'll tell you where we've got a little bit of spicy action, and that's the battle for P6 right now. Cal Quinn getting into the back of Watts, coming through the bus stop ever so slightly. They're going to break down for LaSource. This could be a run.
Yeah, with that being said, Cal Quinn being that deep on the brakes isn't going to get the best shot off of the corner. Let's see who's got the best straight line speed. Is it Watts or Cal Quinn as they approach Eau Rouge? If Cal Quinn can gain a little bit, and he is, let's see who goes through the corner the quickest. Oh boy, Watts gets a little bit loose over the top, but I don't think Cal Quinn's close enough.
I don't think he is either, but the speed is climbing for Cal Quinn. But yeah, as you said, just not close enough to make that work there.
Unfortunately, I think Dave Menino has miscalculated the fuel. He's back into the pits. Either that or he's got himself a penalty. So unfortunately for Menino, he's back into the pits, and that will send him straight back to the back of the field. Watching still there, Watts and Cal Quinn.
Yeah, sorry about that, Adam. Yeah, I was just going to say a heartbreak there for Dave. That is Cal Quinn, though, still just trying to hassle Watts as much as he can. Watts getting up a little bit onto the entry curb there, giving him a little bit of a bump. That could help Cal Quinn as they make the run down through Pujol.
Absolutely, Cal Quinn looking like that heaviness of the BMW helping him at this point. Owen Watts getting a little bit offline, but Cal Quinn's not close enough to make a move into Fangies. He's going to take a little peek to the inside, try and scare Watts a little bit here as they go right then left, and they're going to sweep to the right again, and it's a long, multi-apexed right-hander. So challenging here. Look at this Calquin trying to fill up that right mirror of Watts, trying to scare him into compliance.
Trying to do it. Absolutely everything he can, but we've got to quickly check in on our leader, Nicholas Rubelar, as he comes out of the bus stop to take the white flag here at Spa.
Great job from Rubelar, doing a good job to hold on to that lead that he has had since the beginning of the race. He's put DeTullio in his rear view mirrors, but here we go, looking once again at this battle. And here we go with DeTullio crossing the line, Modoff 3 seconds behind him, and Ferguson 2 seconds behind, so these gaps have really opened up.
Yeah, they certainly have. We're going to check back in on that battle for P10, though. J.R. Williams still trying to get by Connor Bell. Nothing doing through the bus stop. They'll take the white flag this time by, so Williams knows it's now or never time.
Absolutely. It's now or never for everybody. So first up is Owen Watson, Horatio Calquin for 6th. And I don't think Calquin's going to get it done, DJ. He's going to have to do it somewhere else because he's not close. And look at this contact between the two of them. The two Porsches there. Very close stuff between Bell and Williams.
Ooh, little bumping and banging there. That could fire up some blood as they get going down here. Firing through Eau Rouge and Radion one last time. Does JR have the motor? It looks like this is the best run he's had, Adam.
Very, very smooth from JR. Connor Bell tucking to that inside, trying to take away some of that draft with scrub through tires, and JR Williams coming up close. Connor Bell drifting to the middle of the track. JR Williams can't get alongside, and now here we go once again. So close between these guys. Connor Bell trying to hang on to it. JR Williams trying to look for an opportunity. Is he going to set it up the inside? He's going to think about it, but jumps back in line.
Yeah, a little bit too over-aggressive to do that down into Radion. They're going to have to do it again here. I think his best opportunity maybe to try to get something a little bit unsuspecting here out of Pujol. Let's see how he handles the run. They make their way back down the hill. A little bit of dirt kick up there from Connor Bell.
Absolutely. He's going to stick right behind him through Pujol and into Fanges is where he's going to have to make that move to try and put Connor Bell offline, but I don't think he's close enough. He's falling back as they dive through Pujol.
Yeah, he certainly is. Closes back in again, though, as they get into the braking for Fagnes. Here they go. Can he keep it into Stavelon? Maybe we can see something good going down, but we've got to focus back on our leader, Nicholas Rubelar.
Rubelar, solid from top to bottom, able to get the fastest lap in as well. Rubelar will win here at Spa over Alessandro DeTullio, 10 seconds in trail. But P6, Owen Watts and Horatio Calquin were side by side as they go through the corner. Watts gets knocked off.
Oh no! Watts completely off. That Lamborghini totaled. He's trying to get to the end.
And Jesse Stevens got Daniel Ferguson at the end of the race as well for 4th position. Didn't see that one coming, but here comes once again. So close between Williams and Bell, but I think Bell's going to hold on to it, and he is. Connor Bell will get 10th. Williams will get 11th.
And you saw up ahead there, Owen Watts able to just limp across the line to be able to take that as well and come home in that 9th position with a very, very damaged Lamborghini.
All right, we're going to take a look at this again because I don't think it's fair to associate blame with this particular incident on Calquin because Watts was extremely loose as he went through the corner.
It really was. So here you can see it. Watts ahead there, Calquin behind. They come up here, ready to get into the corner. Calquin gets a good run here, and there you see a little bit of a wiggle and a little bit of a wiggle again. Oh, yeah, he's completely sideways there, Adam. That is a racing incident. Calquin just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, Calquin tried to go around him, but Watts was washing out too far wide, and you can see just how damaged he is. So challenging. Watts coming home in the 17th position after battling for this 6th spot. So riding on board with Calquin. Let's see how much time he had to adjust to this. Not much.
None. Yeah, that is no fault of Horatio Calquin there.
Well, a very exciting finish to a very exciting race, to be honest with you. But we'll have the results as well as some driver interviews after this break. So don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. Welcome back to the PRL GT series here on GSRC. What an intense set of races we had tonight with the GT4s at Mosport and the GT3s here at Spa. And we have Nicholas Rubelar, who came home with the win over Alessandro Di Tullio. Carl Modoff comes home in the third position, 12 seconds behind, with Jesse Stevens in fourth. Daniel Ferguson comes home in fifth tonight, with Horatio Calquin narrowly avoiding disaster to come home in sixth, ahead of Chris Ferragonio in seventh. Felipe Riquelme doing a good job recovering himself up to eighth position, with Connor Bell finishing in ninth, ahead of J.R. Williams, hotly contested for ninth and 10th.
Indeed. In 11th, it was Pedro Berger, followed by Connor Wagner. Raymond Yip was able to come home in 13th, and one of your highest movers of the race, your actual highest mover of the race, Ted Lowendick, came home in 14th. Arnaud Genet came home 15th, followed by Christopher Rhines and Owen Watts. Jean-Francois Godin was 18th, followed by James David in 19th, and Dave Menino in 20th.
And you have your non-finishers: Gonzalo Cortez, Felipe Magnan, Louis Goodway, Paul Munoz, David C. Holland, and Lyndon Swaby, who did not actually start the race, unfortunately. But we're going to talk to our winner tonight, Nicholas Rubelar. Nicholas, fantastic job tonight. From start to finish, you were the class of the field, fastest lap and everything. How'd you do it?
Hello. Yeah, there was like a lot of hours, a lot of effort behind the setup and trying to learn the track. I just tried to just set my pace on the race and try to maximize all the track use I can use actually, and not try to do so many off tracks. And yeah, that was it basically.
Absolutely. Now, Alessandro Di Tullio really kept you honest for most of the race, sticking within about 2 seconds. Now, he's racing the Porsche, you're racing the Lamborghini. Do you think that had to do with the difference between you guys by the end of the race, or do you think it was the arrangement of your pit stops?
Well, Alessandro was having a really good pace behind me. I just tried to just set my pace, and on the pit stop actually try to maximize. I refueled a little bit less fuel just to gain some seconds. I managed to gain 2 seconds on that pit stops, so it was really comfort sitting on my position and just try to be as fast as possible.
Absolutely, and a great finish today for sure. And Spa, I mean, it's a very challenging track, especially for these GT3s, but talk to me about how difficult it is to set up a car for this particular track because of all these high-speed off-camber corners.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, we were like on the start, we were thinking about how much wing do we have to use, because on this track especially, I prefer to prioritize the top speed because there's a lot of straights, and try to gain the most of the grip on the car, and looks like it works pretty well for us.
Absolutely. A perfect streak of top fives this entire season. Nicholas Rubelar, our winner today. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yes, I would like to thank everyone that supports me on my social media as always. You guys for hosting these championships. My team Punto.co for supporting me, and my sponsors Next Level Racing and Thrustmaster.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Nicholas, and we look forward to seeing you next round.
See you.
That was Nicholas Rubelar, our winner tonight, and DJ Clark has caught up with Alessandro Di Tullio, who came home in second today.
I have indeed. Alessandro, looked like for a while there you had some speed to challenge up on Nicholas, but just wasn't able to do it. But still a pretty impressive gap to be able to pull away, and looked like you ran a pretty quiet race.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, I had some hope in the beginning when I knew I had the Nicholas draft, but then once he broke the draft, I made a couple small mistakes, and once he broke the draft, it was really hard to keep up with him. He had like a good 2-3 tenths of pace advantage on me. So yeah, congrats to him. He had a really good pace.
Well, I have to ask you then, we've talked a little bit about setup here. Were you geared a little bit more towards the twisty bits, or were you guys thinking a little bit more towards the straight line speed here today?
Honestly, with the 24-hour spa running a different car, I was running the AMG for that. I just made a setup and just put it on and drove it how it was, how I made it from the beginning. So I didn't really have much time to dial in a setup and get it all good for what I wanted. So I don't know how to answer to that. I don't really have an answer.
Well, all right. I mean, I'd said it works for you one way or the other. Now, I do have to ask you, championship-wise, I think this is going to be able to close you in on that battle for third and second right now. Are you looking championship long-term as we cross over the halfway mark here?
Well, yeah, at the beginning of the season, I had no hope for the championship as races were going really rough. But now with these two good results, it's definitely giving me some hope. And yeah, I'm definitely now looking towards the championship.
Well, fantastic, man. We wish you the best of luck. Anybody you'd like to thank for this second place here tonight?
Yeah, I would like to thank my team, Delta Sport, and its sponsors, Move Up, Freem USA, Race Factory, Unified for Kids, Get Stuck, Driven Texas, and Extreme Sim Racing. And of course, my parents for watching and supporting.
Well, thank you so much. That was Alessandro DiTullio, your second place finisher here tonight. And now, Adam, I believe you've caught up with our third place finisher, Carl Modoff.
Absolutely, Carl. Your consistency continues today, but I want to talk to you about that incident that you managed to miss on lap 3 between Goodway and Munoz. Talk to me about coming through that and how stressful that was for you, considering you're fully on the brakes at that point.
Hey guys, yeah, that was a tough moment there. You're braking, and that's a tricky brake zone because the rear end really wants to come around on you. So you're just trying to hold it together, and then I think it was Munoz. I saw him start rotating, and I was like, okay, it's about to get serious. And then you just try and not drive the car on the limit either way, and just wait to see which way they kind of flow off the track or whatever, so you can kind of get through there. I was hoping to get by Daniel and then get a gap, but it actually worked out pretty good. I didn't think I had the pace to really try and keep up with the lead guys. Maybe Alejandro, but I needed his draft for that. So it was a good race with Daniel throughout there, and I was able to save some fuel running behind him. And yeah, start 7th, finish 3rd is a pretty good result for me. I'm happy with that.
Absolutely, a great finish for sure. And Carl, you're doing a good job up there in second place in the points. Now, Nicholas obviously doing his work with 4 wins out of the 6 rounds, but do you think you have anything for him in the latter half of the season?
It's going to be tough. He's driving really good. He's got a car that's really dialed in right now, and those guys, building fast setups, he's driving great. So it's going to be hard to really look at taking the championship away from him with the kind of the consistency that he's already had. You'd have to have quite a turn of events, but we're here. We can still get second. It's still a tough battle for second in the championship, and never know what's going to happen. We're just going to be shooting for wins and good points and see if we can't at least bring it home on the podium here.
Absolutely. Carl Modoff coming home in 3rd today. Is there anyone you want to thank for this last place on the podium?
Yeah, I'll just thank all you guys, the announcers and the race organizers, Delta Sport, and then our sponsors, Move Up, Freem USA, Race Factory, United for Kids, Get Stuck, Driven Texas, and Extreme Sim Racing. And then thanks to my friends and family for tuning in. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you next week.
All right, that was Carl Modoff, our 3rd place finisher tonight, and that's going to take us out to the end of this race. But we want to give a big shout out to the sponsors tonight. ASR, they design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab, it helps you improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com. SimMSA, find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net and NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, DJ Joe and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed here on your screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store, simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep the link in the description below as well. Don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button down there if it is red, so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Now, next time, they're doing Charlotte and the Red Bull Ring. Awesome to see that. That's going to be August 2nd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check them out and mark them down on your calendar. We hope you've enjoyed joining us for the racing tonight as much as we enjoyed bringing the racing to you. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.